The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Stars in your eyes, little one. Where do you go to dream? To a place we all know, the land of make-believe.
No. That's not. I'm doing there what they do on crap radio shows, and I'm playing a low-quality version of that off of YouTube, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm trying to get it on my hard drive in HQ quality, high quality, and for some reason it's not allowing me to do it. Let's do that again, because that song is delicious pop, and it deserves. Today's a pop special, by the way. We're celebrating the magic of pop. 03444991000 is the telephone number. Let me see if it's down. Aha! Is it downloading in delicious high quality? We can have an interview with Bucks Fizz later on. I went and met them today and hung out with them while they rehearsed. They did a private little concert for me, and then there was a bit in this song where Jay Aston pointed at me and sang. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the magic, the genius, the might that is Bucks Fizz.
Stars in your eyes, little one. Where do you go to dream? To a place we all know, the land of make-believe. Voices whisper, will you come and play?
I was sat in, well, it was, I'm going to be honest, it was a fancy shed while Bucks Fizz, they're called The Fizz now, despite the fact that 3 of the original, 75% of Bucks Fizz. Oh, here we go, here we go.
He came today, but had to go to visit you. You never know.
Oh, that's a great song. That's up there with Daydream Believer, that song, totally. 75% of the original members of Bucks Fizz are in this group and they're not allowed to use the name Bucks Fizz. And I was with them for about an hour, right? It's Jay, Mike, Cheryl, and there's a new Bobby who's called Bobby. And they were the most delightful people. And we just chatted about music, about Eurovision, about pop. And I did we'll play the interview after 11, right? Again, they were waiting for me to take the piss. They were waiting, because Mike said, I recognise you. You used to do that programme, didn't you, with Ricky Gervais? I said, yeah. They were waiting for the gag, and all they got was adulation. And I'm going to be honest, that's my stomach. I'm going to be honest, I was staring a little bit too intently at Jay Aston. It has to be said. But they can't use the name Bucks Fizz. And we talked about it briefly. I said, look, I've got to ask, and I kind of know the history, but people will think it's weird that you are the Fizz when there are more of you in the Fizz than there are in Bucks Fizz. There's only one original member in Bucks Fizz, and Cheryl, she didn't quite get as angry as she did when she destroyed, rightly so, David Van Day on Celebrity Coach Strip. She didn't get quite so angry, but her voice deepened and she had the growl of a protective mother who was upset that her child had been taken away by a cult. That's quite a good way of putting it, actually. They were lovely. And I'm now, here's the joy, right? They got a new album out. Honestly, I walked in and they were singing Acapulco, but they weren't. They had headphones in, so they could hear music. But when I came in, there was no music. It was just them singing 4-part harmony. Flippin' heck, it was good. You heard it. It's on the thing.
It was amazing.
It was brilliant.
And the engineer, you can just about make out the engineer saying, "Oh, they don't normally let anyone hear them sing a cappella."
Mate,
why not? They're amazing.
Mate, they should do a whole set a cappella. It's incredible, incredible. And so. If you want to, we'll play the interview after 11. Thefizz.com is their website, and they're doing a tour. I'm going to go and see them on Sunday. They're playing in Windsor. By the way, I've got a spare ticket. I'm tempted to invite a listener along for a night out to see The Fizz. I want to call them Bucks Fizz, but also I don't want to get sued by anybody. Mm-hmm. I've got a spare ticket. I don't know if you want to come, 0344 499 1000. And their new album, and they sang a couple of songs from their new album. It's always a worry. Always a worry. But they were really good. They were really good pop songs. Really good pop songs. And it's produced by Mike Stock of Stock, Aitken and Waterman fame. And I was a huge, genuinely, no word of a lie, I was a huge Stock, Aitken and Waterman fan in the 80s. As well as the Monkees and the Beach Boys. Everyone was off listening to flipping New Order and The Cure, and I was buying Jason Donovan records. I loved them. I went and saw Jason in concert a few times. I was a very weird 14, 15-year-old boy.
People get very snobbish about them, about the music factory, but let's just recall another music factory that people tend to be very, very full of praise for, and that's Motown.
And people go, well, you can't compare Jason Donovan to Marvin Gaye. And you know what? We're not comparing Jason Donovan to Marvin Gaye. We're comparing the production techniques. It's the same thing. I'm now arguing with white middle-aged men
of course
online,
you are,
right?
because they're the only ones who
this is the thing.
This.
And my friend Amy, Naked Persimmon, on Twitter, she's my friend Amy. She's a Monkees fan. And her and another Monkees fan, Meg, that's it. They argue brilliantly about how important pop music is. And I'm talking about what teeny bopper, bubblegum, whatever you want to call it. But pop music is to young girls between the ages of, let's say, 12 to 17, in terms of defining who they are, defining their musical likes, defining their sexual feelings, because a lot of the feelings towards these pop stars are sexual, defining masturbation, defining all of these things that are important to young women, right? And It's not until 30 years later when blokes go, yeah, well, do you know what, actually, the Monkees were a cool band, that suddenly they become universally accepted. And all the 12, 13, 14-year-old girls that dug the Monkees in 1967 finally get vindicated. And I'm discussing this, and I use this term very loosely. 0344 499 1000, by the way, you can call him. I've said, because Mike Stock, I've tweeted him, I said, Mike, I'd love to come and do an interview with you. And he said, yeah, of course, it'd be great. I'm thrilled, genuinely thrilled, because his music was an important part of my teenage years, from about 14 to about 17, 18. It was a huge part of my teenage years. So on a personal level, I'm thrilled. But also on a sociological and historical level, I'm thrilled, because he was part of a team that had so many hits, and I didn't like all of them. Of course I didn't like all of them. Not meant to. But he liked so many hits. And so I've mentioned on Twitter, I think that Stock, Aitken and Waterman were geniuses. And I genuinely do, right? And some of the comments, people saying it was worthless pap. You write a song that sells 10 million copies. I dare you. I tell you what, I'll make it easier. You write a song that can sell 1 million copies. Just one song. All you've got to do is write one song that can sell 1 million copies. Bearing in mind, they wrote dozens of songs that sold millions of copies. You come up with one, right? And then there's there we go. Mike is arguing. This is a I'm guessing a white middle-aged guy, and I think ethnicity and I think age and certainly gender are important in this. Stock, Aitken and Waterman he's talking about. They manipulated the gullibility of the mass market, just as Simon Cowell does now, then had the audacity to claim a place in the indie charts. Right, hang on. Their label, I can't remember the name of their label. I don't think it was called Saw. Was it PWL? I'm not sure. But their label was an indie label. They were an indie label. So you must have been horrified when you were scanning the Melody Maker or Sounds, and you go, oh, the indie chart, we've got Pulp, we've got Ned's, Jason Donovan's in there. They were an indie label. They weren't backed by the huge thing. And also, pop is about marketing. Mate, if you think it isn't, it always has been. The Beatles, what was A Hard Day's Night? A Hard Day's Night was a 90-minute advert for an album. That's what it was. Pop has always been about marketing. Pulp, you talk about indie, Pulp, they're an iconic marketing dream. And also, the gullibility of the mass market. You can't sell millions of records just maybe once you could a stretch you could sell a couple of million records maybe once, but to do it again and again and again. And here's another thing, Mike Healy, right? They manipulated the gullibility of the mass market. So you're saying that it was predominantly teenage girls. All those teenage girls that bought those records, that saved their money, that worked Saturday jobs, that delivered newspapers, that begged, stole and borrowed. You're saying that all of those girls, their experience, their emotion that they invested into those songs, you're saying it's meaningless? It's worthless? That they were gullible? That they didn't really fancy Rick Astley, that they didn't masturbate to Jason Donovan, that they didn't cry their heart out listening to Kylie Minogue records? You're saying all of those emotions that they played with, that they explored, that they experienced, it's meaningless because Jason Donovan didn't write his own songs. Kylie Minogue wasn't playing bass guitar on her record. Is that what you're saying? The arrogance of you, Mike. The arrogance of you, Mike Healy, to dare to judge those teenage girls and those young gay boys and those young heterosexual girls and boys, but also really important for young gay boys who were establishing what they were. How dare you, Mike? How dare you display such arrogance as to dismiss their reasons for buying and enjoying and learning and singing those songs and sharing as well. The shared feeling of being at a pop concert is a wonderful, wonderful awakening when suddenly something you've done in your bedroom on your own, listening to the records or the tapes, you've done it on your own and suddenly you're in a room with 4, 5, 6,000 other people that all feel the same about this person or this group that stood up on the stage. And you, Mike Healy, you've got the letters DJ before your name as though that gives you some kind of credibility. You know nothing, my friend. You know absolutely nothing. I would never dare to dismiss the hopes, the dreams, the fantasies and the feelings of millions of young girls who genuinely felt something.
And yet, 50 years ago, you'd have had another version of Mike Healy talking about Tin Pan Alley in the same way, suggesting that was mass market gullibility. Or Motown, for example. But is it just with the benefit of hindsight and the fact that maybe you weren't around when those records came out and you don't remember that it was maybe your mum or your grandma that bought those records that makes it so somehow more credible? I just don't get it.
Finally, like you, says Mike again. Mike, call in, man. I'm not having a go. I'm just saying this. He's talking again about Stockcake and Waterman. I grew up listening to that, and boys liked it as much as girls. They didn't. They didn't. Girls, statistically, bought more of that Stockcake and Waterman stuff than boys. That's a fact. That's just a fact. And they liked it more because it was made. Let's use the dirty word, shall we? It was manufactured because pop is plastic. We know that. The best pop is plastic and disposable. It was manufactured for girls in mind. It was aimed at teenage girls. And there was some overspill. There was some weird, there were some weird guys like me, and there were some gay guys, and they were all, and there were some mums, and there were probably some dads that went out and bought a Kylie album or a Sonia record. There probably were. That's fine. But it was, you cannot deny, and if you do, you are incorrect, right? That pop like that and pop like One Direction and things like that, they are aimed at teenage girls, and they are bloody important to teenage girls. And the arrogance of anyone, particularly a middle-aged bloke, to say, nah, it's meaningless. Well, it might be meaningless to you. It might be meaningless to you. Here's the thing, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, Otis Redding. I hate that song. I think it's a rubbish nursery rhyme, but I'm aware to millions of people it means something. You can't take away the importance of these pop stars to young girls like that. 0344 499 1000. I'm Iain Lee. This is Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Hang on, I'm just sending a tweet to Fraser Hines. Hang on. There we go. 0344 499 1000. Good evening, Alex.
Oh, hello, Ian.
Hello, Alex.
I'm a Bucks Fizz fan. Actually, it's not Bucks Fizz, it's the Fizz.
This is one of the crazy things, and I'm going to play out an interview I did with them after 11, Alex. It's brilliant. You're going to love it because they are funny, they are naughty. Mike Nolan is a very, very naughty boy.
Really?
He's a very naughty boy, Alex. Very naughty. And I've got to say, Cheryl Baker, she's got a dirty laugh on her.
Good.
What's interesting, you'll listen to it, right? And they're all getting on, but every now and then they'll have a little niggle with each other. Like Mike says, talks about, going on tour and stuff. And he says, I don't drink, but Cheryl likes to get drunk. She goes, no, don't. Because, you like a drink. She says, yeah, I like a drink. Yeah. I don't like to get drunk. And it's nice, it's lovely little niggles there. They're so, you wouldn't be allowed to see that with a young pop group now. You wouldn't get that freshness and that realness. But with them, it was for people that, three of them have been working on and off with each other for
30 years.
No. 35 years, wow. Let's say. 36 years.
Right.
Eurovision was 1981 that they won it. And the New Boy's been in it. His New Boy's been there for 3 years. They were so funny, Alex. And they did Land of Make Believe for me.
Really?
Yeah, I was sat there and they sang it for me.
Oh, wow. I wish I could have been there with you.
Well, if you keep listening, Alex, and close your eyes, it'll feel like you were.
Oh.
Why do you like Bucks Fizz so much?
Well, actually, I'm a new fan of the Fizz.
You're a what?
Because I'm a new fan of the Fizz.
Oh, you're a new fan of the Fizz. How come you're a new fan of the Fizz?
Well, I'm 19 years old, and although most people my age are into like new charts, like new music that's in the charts.
Yeah.
I'm not really into music that's in the charts. I'm into music from the 80s.
Yep.
Like Saw. Like I really love Saw.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and when I realised that Mike Stock was producing the Fizz, I'm like, oh wow, I must listen to them.
And their new, what's the song? Because their current single is Singing in the, no, not Singing in the Rain, Dancing in the Rain.
Dancing in the Rain.
It's a brilliant song. It's a perfect pop song. And they got a little dance routine where they've all got umbrellas. And Jay's umbrella had broken, so she had a £1.99 one from Asda. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Oh.
Well, I am going to get the album, and are you going to go and see them on tour?
Yes, I'm going to see them in London. Okay. I think they're doing a live TV performance.
Right, okay. I'm going to see them. I'm going to see them on this Sunday. First night is Friday, and they were good today. But I've got to say, Mike Nolan he missed a couple of those dance moves. Mike, you got to pull your finger out, buddy.
Yeah.
But they were brilliant, and it's I don't think you can knock pop, Alex. Pop is wonderful.
Oh, I agree with you. It's so wonderful.
Well, Alex, it's nice. It's nice to talk to you. You keep listening after 11, and I'll play the interview out. Okay?
Great, will do. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. What a nice lady. 0344 499 1000. Because listen, I was a big fan of the Monkees, and you talk about the Monkees now. Everyone accepts that the TV show was groundbreaking. Everyone accepts that the music is wonderful pop, and they had the best session musicians on there and all of that. But that is a recent development. That ain't always been the case, right? Certainly wasn't the case in the 60s. They were called out for being fake and plastic. Certainly wasn't the case in the 80s and the 90s. When I was at school into it, they were still a manufactured TV group that didn't play their own instruments. No, everyone ignore the fact their songs were written by Carole King and Neil Diamond and Neil Sedaka, and you had Hal Blaine and Glenn Campbell and Carol Kay playing. Everyone ignored that. Now it's like, oh yeah, the Monkees, the greatest session musicians. Oh, it was a bit, yeah, but so I have grown up having to quiver and hide my musical taste for fear of mockery from musical snobs. But I will take this no more. I will take this no more. And I don't like this thing either. What do they call it? Guilty pleasure. What's your guilty pleasure? That one song that you're embarrassed to like? No, unless it's Coldplay, you shouldn't be embarrassed about liking anything. If a song's... But my boy's favourite song at the moment, because it's in an advert, and they sing it like this, do you like peanuts colada? Because it's in an advert, and they love that. So their favourite song is Peanuts Colada, because they don't know. And of course we've analysed that song on this show, but they don't know that song is probably being used ironically. They don't know that you're not supposed to like that song. They like that song because it's a video of like an otter or something swimming around in the sea, and they think it's Peanuts Colada. They love it. And that's what pop music is. It's pop music. I genuinely believe this, guys. Phone up and argue against this. You will not be able to. Pop is the purest form of music. It is folk music for the late 20th, early 21st century. It is important. It tells a story. If you listen to pop music from anywhere in the last 50 years, you can pretty much date it to within 6 months just by listening to the lyrics and the production and the drum and the bass sound on there. You can date it. It's folk music. It's wonderful. It tells a story. And it may not speak... Pop, One Direction, right? Doesn't speak to me because I'm a 44-year-old man. They're not meant to speak to me. They're meant to speak. They're genetically programmed to speak to 13-year-old girls.
And 40-year-old women.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. And of course, I'm sure I don't think I could even name a One Direction song, but I'm sure if I listened to it, I would quite dig it. Your dad's just got into Taylor Swift.
Yeah, he has.
Good for him.
By accident. Bought a CD, listened to it, thought it was awful, listened to it again, thought, oh, hang on a minute. Now can't stop listening to it, and has bought another CD.
Yep. This is what it's all about, guys. Unless it's Coldplay, because they're just an affront, and I'm glad I'm not glad. I'm sad it's my last Virgin show on Sunday, but dear God, every week I've been playing Coldplay through gritted teeth. The rest of the playlist, pretty good, but Coldplay through gritted teeth, and I'm going to do my best to make sure we don't play one this Sunday. But everything else, man, everything else it's up for grabs. It's all wonderful. 0344 499 1000 is the phone number. This is Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Mike's upset I slightly misrepresented his argument. Not at all, mate. I read out your tweets and I destroyed them one by one. You are patronising the memory of those teenage girls that bought those records. But that's the last... Listen, it's not a pen pal show. It is a phony show. 0344 499 1000. Is Liz there? Can we get Liz up? Get Liz up straight away. For goodness sakes. Right, this is it. Can we just... When Paul from Stoke Poge's phone's in, Sam, don't talk to him. He dominates the whole bloody phone-in process, right? Just get what he wants and either call him back or not. All other callers take precedence over him, for crying out loud. Good evening, Liz.
Hello, Iain.
Hello, Liz.
First time I've spoken to Talk Radio.
Oh, well, it's wonderful. It's the first time I've ever spoken to anyone called Liz.
Is it really?
Not today.
Well, again, I'm not even sure if that's true. Certainly in the last half an hour, yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
What you got for us, Liz?
Well, basically, I'm going to be extremely boring here because I'm not going to argue or disagree with anything you said about pop music being the most purest form of music that there is. I mean, when you actually started off with that Bucks Fizz track, I just had to listen to that in its entire glorious whole.
Here's the thing, Liz. Here's the thing about wonderful pop music, right? When they sang that song today in rehearsal, first of all, the hairs on because Bobby said, Iain, what's your favourite Bucks Fizz song? We'll do it now. I'm like, what? I'm just sat there I said, it's the land of make believe. And they went, all right, and they did it. They went into it and did it. So the hairs on the back of my neck went up. But here's why I think pop is so important. Suddenly, it was 1982. I was 9 years old, and I was watching that video on Top of the Pops. And the video is all kind of surreal, and it's like a sort of surreal scape, and there's dancers and things like that. And I remember being 9 years old, and I was there, Liz. I was sat on the sofa in my living room at 120 Monksfield Avenue, watching Top of the Pops and watching that pop video. And I was there. It took me back 34 years, 35 years.
My dad tells a story about when he went to a Paul McCartney concert and suddenly he was 14 again, right? So that experience isn't different for men or women.
They're not just singing songs. They are casting spells. They are creating incantations. They are actually making time travel possible. And I just think it's wonderful, and they're wonderful.
And then you look around the rest of the crowd and they're all experiencing the same thing.
They're all in their own little worlds, taken back to a specific point. It could be they're having a bath listening to it on the radio. Maybe they saw them in concert. Maybe they had their first kiss. To all these wonderful, wonderful
Pulling
things.
the pages out of Looking, learning the words.
Exactly. Who do you like then, Liz?
Well, one of my favourite tracks of that period is Against All Odds by Phil Collins.
Yep, great song. It's a great song.
And that is, people have called that as a guilty pleasure. Well, what's guilty about it?
No, the guilty pleasure. Yeah, the guilty pleasure thing was. And fair play, it was a guy that did it on a radio show in sort of like the late 90s, I think, early 2000s, and you'd pick songs that you were embarrassed to like Horse with No Name by America, or the Phil Collins one you mentioned, and I don't think that, they were brilliant songs that sold millions of copies, and they mean something to people. So there's no guilt. I've got no guilt about any of the songs I like.
There is still a tendency, though, isn't there, when people start asking you about what your favourite song is.
Yep.
Whether you resist the temptation or not, the temptation is there to think, now what's going to make me sound cooler? And it's that, isn't it?
I tell you where people do cheat, it's when you do what was the first record you bought, and people will cheat and fudge it and do the cool one. First record I bought was by Ryan Paris, La Dolce Vita. Terrible record, but at the time I loved it. It was really important to me because I'd heard it on holiday. It was the first thing I bought with my, what was it, £1.40 or something, whatever they were.
I can't actually remember the first record I ever bought.
No.
I remember the first record that was bought for me, which was, I was actually given two records at the same time.
Yeah.
I was given the Womble's greatest hit.
Beautiful.
And I was given ABBA's greatest hit.
Yeah. Which one did you prefer?
That's a hard question, that is. I think
the Wombles, of course, it was Mike Mike Batt is a genius. Mike Batt was the brainchild behind Katie Melua, who I think is fantastic. She's got an amazing voice. But he's also an orchestral composer. One of my favourite albums is XTC's and Apple Venus Volume 1. And he did a significant amount of the orchestral scoring on it. Wonderful.
Because he's got what Stock Aitken and Waterman got, what Berry Gordy had, which is this ear for being able to write something that sticks.
Yep.
And that's hard, and people dismiss it as being bubblegum and all this sort of stuff. It sticks, and
people
there's a reason
why. People call it nursery
why.
rhymes. You write a nursery... Go and write a nursery rhyme. It's flipping hard work for something that's going to be sung 20, 30, 50, 100 years down the line. It's hard, Liz.
Oh gosh, yes. That's the first time I've heard that Mike Batt did some of the scoring on XTC stuff. I've just got visions now of making plans for Nigel coming on and the whole Womble strolling out to pick up some litter at the same time.
That'll do it. Liz, thank you for your call. I'm glad you got through. I appreciate it. Let's go to Steve. Good evening, Steve.
Hiya.
Hello,
on the
Steve.
same theme. Just had the same sort of attitude from people like... your last call I mentioned ABBA.
Yeah.
Even though I'm quite into punk and things like that, I think ABBA are brilliant. But more so, Chaz and Dave, I loved the interview that you had.
Yeah.
And it's like people like sort of patronising you, and they've got no idea who, the roots of Chaz and Dave, the gravitas of the people they've worked with.
We talk about people taking the mick out of music and not being considered cool. The entire 80s, Chaz and Dave had that. They were a joke. They were a joke. But now you get all the hipsters going, well, actually, Chaz and Dave are a really good band. They were always a really good band. It's just that you were too cool in the 80s to know that.
What happens though is time passes and all of a sudden it becomes vintage rather than that old cheesy stuff that they probably liked anyway, but your mates didn't approve of. When it becomes vintage, everyone suddenly looks at it with fresh eyes,
But I mean, that interview was just so wonderful, because I already knew that they were much, much deeper than what people think. But even I didn't realise, the depth of it was just so, educational musically, It was just amazing. I mean, and he's such a cool guy.
Follow him on Twitter, right? Because he goes between tweeting pictures of him with Gene Vincent. He posted a brilliant picture of him playing with Gene Vincent, and it's this wonderful, slightly out of focus colour photograph from God knows when, 1962, 63, and He says, I remember that taped-up microphone. It kept flapping open like a crocodile's jaw. And you look in the picture and Gene Vincent's got this microphone that's taped up. So he tweets stuff like that. And then he tweets, I wonder if a vicar has ever called anybody a C. He's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful on Twitter.
Yeah, and the thing I always found ironic was that, sort of being involved with the sort of the sort of punk scene from the beginning, it was always supposed to be about... Well, it was supposed to be about freedom of expression, freedom of ideas. But, what, you like Chaz and Dave? You like a bit of ABBA? We can't have that. And I thought, what is this?
Yeah.
That's why I've never classed myself as a punk. I've always classed myself as a person who likes a
By
bit
the way,
of
how many, and Danny Baker always makes this point, how many of those old punk albums, never mind the bollocks and Love Bites by the Buzzcocks to one side, how many of those old punk albums do you actually put on at the weekend when you want to relax?
Not that many.
No, because the punk albums are rotten. They are all... There's some brilliant punk singles, and there's a couple of other albums, but most of the punk albums are rubbish. But you put on an ABBA album, you put on a Phil Collins, you put on... These people make good albums. Punk, it was 2-minute songs, and that was it. Thank you very much, Steve. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, just let me try this. Hang on a second. Someone's texted in. I want to see if they want to... Come on. Someone's producing the show via text.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See,
well, if I could do that, I could stay at home.
Yep. No, they're not going to answer. They've texted, stop talking about crap music. I'm not. I'm talking about brilliant music. I'm talking about... And I'm not just talking about music, coward. I'm talking about...
4 7.
There we go. There we go. Is it the coward? We'll get some more texts in a minute from that person. I'm not just talking about music. If you think I'm just talking about music, you ain't listening properly. Clear out your lug holes. We've covered life. We're going to cover death. We've covered sex. We've covered masturbation. We've covered money. We've covered adoration. We've covered group experiences. We've covered all kinds of things. We're talking art, baby. We're talking art.
Late night conversation worth losing sleep over. The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
If you're watching on Periscope, by the way, just say what you just say next.
Just saying that this has really uncorked my genie, this whole conversation, because it's true that, anything that's aimed at women, and sometimes it's aimed in a really sloppy way. Like, to be honest, I get a bit fed up with all the sort of pinkification of things. How do we make this appeal to women? Let's make it, a pink version, for heaven's sake, pink Lego and all that crap. Kids like Lego, full stop. It's not about that. But, when they target something at women, for example, films or books, suddenly it becomes chick flicks or chick lit.
Chick lit, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so my granddad used to enjoy, my granddad used to enjoy cowboy films, right, or war films. It's been going on for years and years. Films that blokes like tend to be kind of fighting films and stuff like that. Does that mean they're dick flicks? No, because they're just films.
I've seen a dick flick, and boy, oh boy, that really caught me unawares.
You shouldn't flick them, this. No.
And you're right. And I mentioned my two friends. I've met them very, very briefly in New York when I went to a Monkees concert. I met Amy. I met them at a Monkees convention as well. Amy and Meg, who both run these really rather rude, Amy in particular, rather rude Monkees Facebook page. Her Facebook page is filthy. And it's all about, they talk about sexual fantasies about the Monkees and stuff like that. Because
do you think that's what pop is to a lot of girls?
Yeah, exactly. And they both argue so eloquently. We'll get them on one night. So eloquent. I've learnt so much from reading their comments on Twitter and Facebook. They speak so eloquently about blokes like me, and they don't mean me specifically in this case, but middle-aged, middle-class blokes appropriating, as you said, pop, appropriating pop.
Coming to them and telling them why what they enjoy is being enjoyed.
Why you should enjoy it.
And you're liking the wrong song. This one's far more important.
Yeah.
At what point are we allowed to have our own opinions about stuff?
And can I just...
It's all taste as well.
Yeah. Can I just say as well, Mike Stock has emailed me. I'm going to Mike Stock's place soon.
Brilliant.
I'm going to go to his place. And we've had two women callers this evening.
Yeah.
And we've got another one. We're going to go to Kathy in a second. So already, in the first 45 minutes of the show, talking about pop, we've had more women callers than we often get in a week.
Do you know why? Because this is stuff we know about, right? And I think that now we can see what the trick is.
Yeah, I've got some blokes lined up, but I'm deliberately I'm less interested in what they have to say. And I will come to. We've got Cleo, we've got Dom, we've got Paul, and we've got Pablo. I'll come to them in a bit.
It's very odd, though, isn't it? Music, and we've had it a lot on this programme, especially recently.
Yep.
How if you don't like the sort of music someone else likes, you do become that playground idiot who suddenly wants to crush that passion out of someone else and convince them your way, and you get very, very cross about it. I'm not saying you, but some people, again, generally older men, get very cross if people don't see things their way. It's supposed to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that either. People talking about the importance of music, a lot of it is about fun and escapism, because life is quite crap.
And also someone on Twitter said, well, what about Sonia records? Are people still listening to Sonia 30 years later? Irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Pop is not meant to be listened to 30 years later. It is now. It is for the 2.5-3 minutes that record is playing. That's the only time it's important. And if some of that transcends time and they play it 30 years later, then that's a bonus. But pop is meant for that moment while you've got that thing, and then suddenly you see another one you want, and that one becomes history.
Here's the thing. I don't think many artists down the ages expected what they were doing at that moment to transcend decades, never mind centuries, right? Shakespeare was making plays to entertain people and to entertain the poor people along with, the rich people occasionally. And he needed their money, so he had to kiss a few backsides, and write histories in favour of the winners, the people that were paying his wages. But it was supposed to be universally entertaining. People were snobbish about it then. The theatre was supposed to be, for the lowest common denominator. It was like watching The Only Way is Essex. But nowadays, with the fact that we are centuries away from it, all of a sudden it becomes high art.
Adam makes a brilliant point. It's funny how it's always the stuff geared for the teenage girl market that's derided as rubbish and not good taste. And he's spot on there. Good evening, Kathy.
Hi, Ian. Hi, Kath. How are you?
Hot, because the air conditioning in this studio doesn't work.
Let me go and press some buttons.
And we're both ranting away, so it's getting very, very hot in here. But apart from that, Kathy, we're on top of the world. Thank you very much.
1990s pop concert in there, then, if it's getting hot and sweaty.
Oh, well, exactly. It's very nice. I went to... where did I see Jason Donovan in? About 1989 at the Hammersmith Odeon, and it was great. And I was 16, and it was all 12-year-old girls with their whistles, and I was screaming. He comes out on the interval playing his guitar, riding a skateboard.
Do you know what I miss about concerts? No one does dry ice anymore.
No.
The smell of dry ice will still take me back.
Bucks Fizz had dry ice today.
Brilliant.
Yeah, dry ice today. Yes. Anyway, Kathy, what have you got for us?
So jealous. No, it's just, pop taught me as a teenager so much. I was a huge Take That fan.
Yeah.
Still am.
Yeah.
It taught me about friendship, because the friendships that I formed because of the band and the things that you learn, love and the adoration and idolising and saving your money, like you say, to go to the archives to get the single tape that was coming out at 99p.
Oh, did you buy? I believe they were called, Kathy, K-singles.
Yes.
K-singles. If there was ever a more dud music format K-singles, I bought a load of, because if you waited a month or two, the K-singles were 49 pence.
Bargain bucket.
Oh, they were so in their Woolworths and our price bargain basket.
Here's another thing you learn from the heartthrob thing: that delicious pain of longing for someone you're never going to get. Right.
I made a bet with my brother, and I could have only been 13, and I, in my teenage brain, worked out that because Robbie Williams was older than me, he would therefore die before me.
Oh, yes!
I made £1 million bet with him that I would marry Robbie Williams.
Oh.
Wow.
Because it could never come to... If it would happen, because it took 13, it could happen. You never know. If I met him, he might fall in love with me.
Of course he would. He would realise you're special.
Absolutely. And how much I adore him, so therefore he'd adore me. But because he would die before me, the bet could never be fulfilled, because it could still happen today. He could get divorced, they could marry him. So I made this ridiculous £1 million bet with my brother. But the other thing it taught me about was like grief.
Hang on a second though, Kathy. Supposing you do marry Robbie Williams, can he afford to pay out?
£1 million. We got, what is it, 80 million when he signed that?
No, your brother.
If you marry Robbie though, your brother's got to pay out £1 million, because it could happen.
No,
you never know.
I was a bit daft. The deal is, if I don't marry him, I have to pay £1 million.
Are you absolute pudding? What did you do that for? So she could take a swerve on this and throw the bet just to save £1 million.
Because the other thing is, I thought if I met him and told him about this, he'd marry me just to kind of fulfil the bet.
Or he might just give you £1 million.
He might. That'd be really nice. But I was going to say as well, it taught me about grief, because when Take That split up, I was like 14. I was devastated. My life, it's the first time I dealt with grief in a way. Yeah. The loss of something that's so special, recording on your videotape, and you used to be able to put the sellotape over the tabs and no one could record over it. Taping on top of on the top 40 when they were number one, and all of a sudden that disappears and you're kind of left with a hole.
We all laughed, and I laughed when Robbie left and when Take That split up, and This Morning did a phone-in for distraught teenage girls, and I laughed because I thought it was funny. And I feel bad because it's not funny. Because the grief that you speak of, and the grief that millions of girls around the world felt, was their first experience with the grief that is similar to a relationship breaking up or someone dying.
It
was real. It was real, wasn't it, Kathy?
Absolutely. I mean, I found out on the school bus, and I remember everyone laughing at me because I was just sat on the school bus sobbing. The news was on saying they'd split up, and everyone had already taken the kind of pee out of me anyway for being a Take That fan, as they did.
Yeah.
and then to be crying on the school bus. But I was just, the hole that left of everything you were going to miss that kind of comes with it.
Yeah.
And going to their concerts now, because I'm still a fan, people that took the piss out of me then are now fans.
They're there now, of course they are, because now that Take That have come right out the other side, and they're a national institution.
Yeah, the national treasures.
Absolutely.
My sister was obsessed with them too. She had a bedroom full of posters of Take That. And when they broke up, she was really upset. And the best explanation was, she said it feels like I'm never going to see them again.
Yeah. Because they've been so much a part of your life.
Yeah.
TV programmes, in the magazines, on the radio, they're everywhere. They're 24/7 in your face. You can play that record whenever you want. You can have them there with you.
Yeah, and all your big plans are about the next time you're going to go see them.
Oh, going to see them. That was the first concert I went to, was to Take That concert, and it was just... But going to see them now, even if another one, nearly 37, this is embarrassing to admit, when they come on, I burst into tears.
Oh, yeah.
But it's because it takes me straight back to being a teenager and all those happy memories, and my bills don't exist, the crap I'm getting at work doesn't exist. None of that matters for that 2.5 hours or whatever they're on stage. And it just brings back all those feelings and remembering what it was like to be a 13-year-old girl infatuated.
It's time travel.
It's escapism, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's actual time travel. I bet you can even see and smell and feel what your bed felt like when you were 13, 14 years old, when you're listening to those records.
I can tell you what bed cover was on there, the pictures on the wall, on the ceiling. I was obsessed. Everything was covered in data, like my exercise books from school that I'd have to take that stick that used to get in smash hit. Do you know what? Everything. It was kind of, and it's the same. And people like older people now, people of my generation, our generation, laugh at One Direction fans and how upset they were.
Oh no,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, I've not. I learned the lesson. I learned the lesson from the Take That split up, and when One Direction split up and girls were upset, I empathised with them because I got it at last. I got it.
There's also a really dark side now with the One Direction in particular. It's kind of manifested itself in the Twitter years. So now, if a girl is suddenly pinpointed as being, the girlfriend of one of the One Direction guys, she gets a whole load of crap on Twitter. But it comes from that same passion, doesn't it? That made you feel like you'd lost someone that you knew.
Absolutely, but it's kind of taken it to the next level because I've heard about this thing that's called shipping, where you worship, but you ship somebody. I don't really understand what it's all about, but they ship two members of One Direction.
Is she saying ship? She's saying ship. No, okay, not
with a P.
Okay, yes, I was worried there for a second. Where's this going?
They ship.
Yes.
Two members of One Direction are in a gay relationship.
Right.
And they make up stories about this, and they go crazy at people.
Oh, I've read gay fan fiction about the monkeys catching each other in the shower and stuff. It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, but so it kind of splits the fandom sometimes because with One Direction, because there's these people that are like, well, they shouldn't have their girlfriends because Harry and whoever else it is are in a relationship together. They're convinced, and they won't have it that they're having babies and relationships. But we didn't have that level of it. We didn't know about Take That's private life. We didn't know who they were dating, that they were being paparazzi with Selena Gomez or whoever it is, because that wasn't around in the 90s.
Well, you say that, and we've only got a couple of minutes left. Sam, can you tell those gentlemen, because we're going to go to Bucks Fizz, we'll have to speak to them later on. Thank you, Cleo, Dom and Pablo. Sorry to keep you waiting for so long, but I think it's important that we speak to women about this. You say that, though, but I've read... Davy Jones had to hide the fact he was married. He didn't tell his fans he was married for 18 months.
John Lennon did, didn't he?
John Lennon had to hide the fact he was married.
He didn't have girlfriends.
John Lennon was outed on the Ed Sullivan Show when their first appearance, when it flashes up, a little caption flashed up. Paul McCartney, he's the cute one. George, he's the thinker. John, sorry girls, he's married. And it got out. And there's footage of Paul McCartney arriving at Abbey Road or somewhere with Linda, and there are all the Apple scruffs. The fans are shouting at Linda and slagging her off. So there was an element of that. Kathy, we have to move on. Thank you so much for that.
No, thanks for the chat. It was really great to reminisce.
Good. Anytime. I appreciate it. And no, I sorry, we had loads of people lined up, and I'm sorry. We're going to play the Bucks Fizz in for you when we come back. So I want to do that. But I did laugh at Take That, and I've Take That fans when Take That split up and when Robbie left, and I didn't when One Direction split, because I get it. I get that it's like getting divorced. It's like your parents getting divorced. It's like your boyfriend dumping you. It's like someone dying. It's like one of those things or all of those things to some people.
Yeah,
and that's significant.
And it's specifically targeted to get you there.
Yeah.
And, you know, this whole thing, like you said, is nothing new. The fact that the Beatles were supposed to be single, they knew that was part of the power. That was a lot of the power.
And by the way, I mentioned masturbation. Absolutely true. The Beatles, the seats at Beatles concert were wet from urine because girls were wetting themselves, and they were also wet from other things because they were touching. Honestly, it was a known thing. They were masturbating. They probably didn't know what they were doing, but while they were watching the Beatles, and likewise with the Osmonds, and likewise with David Cassidy, and I would imagine probably the same with Take That, and more than likely with One Direction as well. I enjoyed that. That was fun. We can carry on talking about that when we come back. We'll have the chat I did with Bucks Fizz today, and I think you're going to enjoy it because they sold like 25 million records. I asked them how many they'd sold. They said, 20, 25 million. Then one of them said, that they'd read it was 50 million. I said, say 50 million then. That's better. But I think you'll enjoy it. They're really, really lovely people and very, very funny, and they totally get their position in the world of pop. I'm Iain Lee. She's Catherine Boyle. This is the Late Night Alternative on Talk Radio.
Talk Radio.
Oh, I'm enjoying this evening. Thank you for those excellent calls. Again, apologies to the calls we didn't get to. I just thought it was important to get some new voices, and I'm really intrigued that we got so many women calling in. Thank you for that. When we come back, we'll have Bucks Fizz. I'm Iain Lee. This is Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
It's not just emotional feeling.
to be honest, that stands the test of time a hell of a lot better than I was expecting it to. And that's not even my favourite Jason song. My favourite Jason Donovan song is, I can't remember what it's called. As the lights all go down over London town, but there's a chill in my heart, even though we're apart. 'Cause I know, yes I know, it's just a matter of time. I'm missing your love until you come back to me. I'm counting the hours until you return. There's a flame in my heart until you come back to me. Oh, how the fire will burn. That's poetry. There's a flame in my heart, and until you come back to me, oh, how the fire will burn. That is poetry. That is poetry.
It's also what every young girl wants to hear.
A beautiful blonde surfing Australian singing, looking in their eyes as he did. If you went and saw him in concert, he was singing just to you, looking in your eyes and singing, there's a flame in my heart, and until you come back to me, oh, how the fire will burn. Wow. That's powerful stuff. And a lot of you won't be getting it because you're not meant to get it. It's not aimed at you. We're celebrating pop this evening. We weren't going to. I've got loads of stuff that I was going to talk about. There's actually some good stuff in the papers. But I just got involved in this wonderful debate on Twitter about the merits or otherwise of pop. And listen, I'm not saying that you have to like Stock Aitken and Waterman. I'm not saying that at all. You can dismiss it because it doesn't... Here we go. You can dismiss it because it doesn't appeal to you as a type of music. It's not to your taste. But you cannot dismiss it's important to the millions of people, predominantly young teenage and pre-teen girls, that bought it and grew up listening to it. And I say grew up, I don't just mean got older, I mean matured as a result of the lessons they learned in those songs and in the communities that those songs forged. There we go. So you can dismiss the music out of taste. You cannot dismiss the importance it played in many, many people's lives. Don't phone in for a bit because we've got about a half-hour lovely interview with... I tell you what we'll do. We'll do the first ad break. Then when we come back, we'll go straight into the interview. But let me set it up because... I think you'll enjoy this. Why did we try and get Bucks Fizz? They were mentioned on the show, weren't they? Wasn't it one of those?
I think so.
Someone, I don't remember why, but I remember I tweeted them saying, I can't remember how it started. One of the listeners will know. But anyway, I watched that weird documentary about the argument over the name Bucks Fizz with David Van Day and Bobby G. Maybe that was it. But I tweeted the Fizz, which is the 75% of Bucks Fizz, and said, "I'd love to get you on the show." And they said, "Oh, we've just done a new album. We'd love to come on the show." And then I'm going to be honest, there was a game of cat and mouse. There was a game of cat and mouse and toing and froing, as there often is with PR people. You speak to the artist, via Twitter. And then PR people, it gets a little bit complicated, but we got there in the end, and I'm glad we waited actually because it worked out better. There was at one point they were going to come in one morning for 20 minutes, or we were going to meet them somewhere for 20 minutes, and actually this worked out a whole lot better. I went for a lovely little drive, and I had my sat-nav set wrong. It took me 2 hours, and then when I got halfway there, I realised I'd set for no motorways because I'd been using it for my bike.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's a lovely drive through the countryside. I'm glad we held off. They're going to start a tour. Their tour starts on Friday. I know for a fact they're playing in Windsor on Sunday because I'm going. I've got a spare ticket. I'm kind of tempted to give it away to a listener, but then I don't want to hang out with a listener. If you want to, what we'll do, we'll have some adverts, then we'll come back, we'll go straight into the interview with Bucks Fizz. If you want to follow them on Twitter, now I've got to get this right, it's quite a complicated name. It is The Fizz CMJB. So that's The Fizz, double Z, C, Cheryl, M, Mike, JJ, and B for, I keep going to call him Barry. Bobby.
Why would it be Barry?
I don't know. I nearly called him Bobby 3 times in the interview.
Well, he is called Bobby. You mean Barry?
Maybe I called him Barry. Oh, no. If you want to follow them, if you want to see the tour dates, thefizz.com is the place to go, and you're going to hear a little bit of that. Now, the microphone I took, it's not really set for recording like a full-on production, right? So you'll hear them do a few songs, and the mix isn't great, but there's one bit where you'll hear them do some stuff a cappella. I walk in and they're doing some stuff a cappella. Bloody hell. I mean, no auto-tune, nothing to hide behind. I walked in and they were singing, and it was No, hang on. They weren't just singing. They were singing and doing dance moves. That's the thing that gets me. How can you sing in harmony so well and then move your body? It really was incredible. I think you're going to enjoy it. I think it'll be another one of those interviews where you go, oh, I wasn't expecting to like that, but actually I got quite a bit from that. So what we'll do, we'll have a little break. When we come back, you'll get to hear the chat I had with, well, we call them the Fizz. We all know it's Bucks Fizz. I'm Iain Lee. This is the late night alternative on Talk Radio.
The radio show where the owls are not what they seem.
Do you or have you ever watched Twin Peaks?
The late night alternative with Iain Lee.
We could be dreaming and meeting each other in our dreams.
On Talk Radio.
Well, I have been driving for ages to a top secret location. I'm not allowed to say where I am. It took me a lot longer to get here than it should have done because I had my sat-nav. I've been using it on my scooter where you're not allowed on motorways. So I've had my sat-nav set to no motorways. So what should have been an hour and a quarter has been, oh, here we go, has been an hour and a bit. I just got to reverse up this little roadie here because there are some vehicles coming the other way. This is exciting and dangerous. There we go. And I'm not driving illegally and recording myself. Don't think that for 1 second. Dear God, no. This is a private road where I think laws don't apply. Anyway, I am here to interview, well, I'm going to call them Bucks Fizz, even though legally they are not allowed to use that name. There are 3 of the original members. The bands, when they split up and get back together again, it gets very, very messy. And there are 3 of the original members, Mike Nolan, J. Aston, and Cheryl Baker as well. I mean, really, golly gosh. 12-year-old me is over the moon. But they're not allowed to, and there's a new guy called Bobby who also looks like Bobby G, even though he's not Bobby G. Here we are, Unit 5. Where are we going to park? But they're not allowed to use the name Bucks Fizz. I reckon it'll be all right if I park here. That should do it. So, let's go and have a look. See if we can find them, shall we? Let us have a look. Unit 5.
Right. Is it a house band or is it a band they already know?
Hello, I'm Iain Lee. I'm here to meet Bucks Fizz today. Oh. Is that... Can I come in?
Iain Lee?
Thank you. I don't want them to disturb everything and smash it up.
Oh, it says help.
Dude, can I get a hug as well? I don't even know you, but
That's a good hug, sir.
that was a nice hug.
My bad.
Oh my God, look.
When skies are cold and grey, what if your heart is brave?
So we're doing, at the moment, production rehearsals for the tour which starts. So this is Ricky, who's the lighting guy for it. And so I've literally only just got myself about 10 minutes ago. So
oh, well, listen, I'm in no rush, so I can sit back and let you guys do what you need to do.
Welcome to but this is right. It's a little space that we put the classes up so you can hang out black cloths and cover the floor and then at the end of the day we put the bands back in. But
mate, that's actual Bucks Fizz over there.
I know, it's incredible. So they've got obviously they've got the noise at the moment, so they're listening to the tracks.
Right, okay.
don't normally let people. Here's an acapella.
This is incredible.
I can actually sing.
I know.
Eric's one of the sound engineers that's coming to talk. There's another one, I think it's sort of two of them are doing it. Unfortunately, the regular guy, who was one right-hand man here, unfortunately passed away a few weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's all just been, hopefully just been thrown up in the air.
Yeah.
But we've caught it all, put it back down.
When does the tour start?
This weekend, I think.
Blimey.
This weekend.
They're good. I don't know why I sound surprised. Though. I'm a fan, you know. So, genuinely, I think this is brilliant. Look at that.
Let me introduce you.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Hello. That was amazing. I'm Iain. I'm from Talk Radio. I've got an interview booked in with you. It's nice to see you all. Hello. Nice to meet you.
Bobby.
Hey, Bobby. How you doing, man? Hey, Mike. Nice to meet you, man.
And you too.
You're all right. That sounded incredible.
Sound better with the production on.
Now let's get the introductions. Mr. Mike Nolan, sir, lovely to meet you.
And you too. I've seen you before, haven't I? I remember I said to you earlier about seeing you on the TV.
Yeah. You have an excellent memory. Can I ask? Right, Cheryl Baker, of course. I grew up on eggs and bacon.
Oh, me too.
Jay Aston, very nice to meet you.
And you, yes.
None of you look any older, which is sickening. Is that how it works with pop stars?
It's a miracle, yeah.
Cryonised, or whatever it is. We've been defrosted about 5 years ago.
Here comes the tea. Now,
coffee. Who was coffee?
Oh, coffee.
Not me. That's Ricky, who does our fantastic life.
Hello, Ricky. How you doing, mate? I'm Iain. Nice to meet you. You're right.
Yeah, not bad.
Were you? I'm going to ask because you look quite young. Were you around when they were having hits? You probably weren't even born. Were you?
No, unfortunately not. No, I was 92. I was born.
Was it really? People were born in the 90s.
You were born when?
But he has been
25.
He has been fizzed.
I have definitely been fizzed.
I'm not sure I know what that means. What is?
Explain what fizz means.
It's rock and roll. Well, basically, on the first ever tour that I did with these guys, or first ever show, we had quite a lot of fun. Yeah. And throughout the entire, I just came up with this term called being fizzed. It just means, to me, it just means like you've just been almost like rock and rolled.
Wow!
Like it was just the fun that we had with that phrase.
He wasn't expecting it from people of a certain age.
Yeah. No, I think engaged into the cult that is the fizz.
They refer to you as heritage artists these days. I think that's the best. Now, and of course, New Boy. And I say New Boy. You were telling me you've been in the band for 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Bobby.
Yes.
Is your hair actually that colour? Because it seems to be a theme with. Is it?
Yeah, it comes off.
There we go.
Listen, I've got to tell you a little secret.
I want the dirt on all these guys.
He had a crush on you when he was a teenager, and he's Iain. He walked in and went, "Oh my God, it's Jay."
Oh, thanks a lot, mate.
That's all right. You're embarrassing me about my hair, so I'm going to knock you without bell.
Are you married?
Kind of, yeah.
Does the wife listen?
She doesn't know I work in radio. She thinks I've got a proper job. He's a terrible man.
This is his hair colour.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. See, so it's two-tone.
That is actually my hair colour too.
And that's my hair colour too.
Yeah, look, there's a bit there in the back that you can see it.
Come on, Michael, come on.
I dye the eyebrows just to make it look like the hair's dyed. He's going for the Donald Trump look at the moment.
I'm actually growing it.
Guys, I don't want to scupper this tour before it even starts. I don't want you falling out over this.
I would never fall out.
I came in, right, and in this luxury, top-secret location, which we're not revealing where it is.
It's a dustbin.
No, I'm not passing comment. But it is a very glamorous shed that you were in.
Yes.
I came in, and I could. You guys were doing.
Cheap turd.
You guys were doing a routine, and I couldn't hear the music, so I was hearing you sing Acapulco. you guys. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I used to love you in the 80s, but you guys can really sing, can't you?
That's what we do.
Yeah,
I mean, we're a vocal harmony band, but I think because we did the Eurovision, you get this big fat label hung around your neck, and they're put together and they're puppets and they can't sing, but we do.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of fun, as Ricky just told you.
Unlike all the other artists who win Britain's Got Talent and X Factor. What was that boy band that Harry Styles was in?
One Direction.
That's it. Yeah, they were put together, weren't they?
Whatever happened? Listen.
We were the first, weren't we?
I'm a huge fan of the Monkeys. You know, the most manufactured group of all time.
Absolutely,
The apes are better. The apes are so much better.
No, the gorillas.
We actually base ourselves on it. If we get a fly in the wall documentary, the stuff that we do is.
Why hasn't that happened? Surely that not in the works.
Time is about time it happened.
We've been talking about
Good
it.
editor.
Well,
you do need a good
There'd be
editor.
footage that you couldn't use.
This is
a lot of bleeps.
This is the thing. I'd watch that. You four pissing around. But if I'm honest, that's what I'd like to see.
For the after show party, because as Ricky was saying, he was offered 2 tours. He was either do us or go with somebody much younger. I'm not going to mention that person's name, but he was.
Come on.
No,
we won't mention his name. But apparently, Ricky started the tour with this other person who's 25, 28, around that age.
Yeah.
And after the gig, they were coming back to the hotel and having tea and coffee, then going to bed.
Oh.
And then Ricky sat in on one of our shows for the first time, and we left. We finished the gig, went back to the hotel. I think we demolished a couple of bottles of vodka.
Went to bed about 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I was, needless to say, first show, that was, it's like, it's just standing up, really.
Fire extinguishers,
I have to say, Mike and Jay are saying that they didn't stay up late.
They go to bed.
I don't drink anyway, but in fact, people have a drink. I'll sit up with them, and they all get drunk and
No,
I will
they don't. Why
You
do you say that?
You do get drunk sometimes. You do.
And you wear makeup. There you go.
Well, of course you all wear makeup. But you get the most drunk out of everyone.
And Iain still has a crush on Jay.
I've got a crush on both. I've got a crush on all 4 of you. Let's be honest.
For those of you listening to the show in mono, Iain has actually keep walking backwards from. We're standing in a semicircle, and he's standing in front of us, and he keeps taking a step back every time he gets closer to Jay.
Jay, you played a significant part in my growing up. That's all I'm going to say. No, don't. It's not worth it. How long do you reckon Bobby's going to last in the band?
Oh, at least until the end of today.
Really?
At least, yeah.
I'm getting a very dark vibe off of him. I'm not convinced. So tell me.
He's sobered up yet, that's the problem.
I can smell it.
Yeah.
Tell me about. Right, let's talk business.
Okay.
Tell me about the tour. That starts. Is it this weekend?
Starts on Friday, so we're 3 days away. Today's the production day, and it goes through till toward the end of November, and we're going completely around the country, everywhere. Oh, actually, not to Ireland, unfortunately, but we're doing Scotland and Wales.
No, we want to go back to Ireland.
Yeah, we want to go back there. Yeah, it'd be nice to do just an Irish tour, wouldn't it?
It'd be great.
We did one back in the day, and it went really, really well.
I'm an Irish member of the band, you see.
Right.
And I was born in Dublin. And when we go over there, that's where we won Eurovision. It was in Dublin.
Was it in Dublin?
It was in Dublin. And I remember when Johnny Logan won it, I said to some friends, someone said to me, that could be you next year in Dublin. I said, nah, the band won't do Eurovision. Wow. A year later, we did it.
What year was it? 82 that you guys won?
81. Yeah. And we just went, and the following year we did a tour over there.
Yeah.
We had a great time, didn't we?
We did.
Really, really good.
Let's get the awkward bit out of the way, and then we can talk about the fun stuff again. Now, you're called the Fizz, is that right? What is? Because, I know, and we've got. I know. He's doing the rock and roll sign. Let's get this out of the way because people want to know this. I don't understand, and I'm sure you don't. A group with 3 original members can't use the name. What? Legal bollocks, is it?
It's a trademark that was registered by someone who was in primary school when we won Eurovision.
Right.
But she has the right to use the name Bucks Fizz. She can go out and call herself Bucks Fizz, and we can't.
That's
it's
incredible.
A bit crazy,
it is crazy. I know this happens with a lot of bands that are together, then they split up, and then different factions kind of start, and there's arguments over the names and stuff. But you are the Fizz. Yeah, and to me, you're the real Bucks Fizz.
No,
you know.
See, the thing is, most people call us the Fizz anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they'd shorten the name. So it was Mike Stock, who we did the album with, who said, "Well, let's call you the Fizz." Yeah. And we looked at the trademarks, made sure it wasn't an infringement, and it wasn't. So that's why we're the Fizz.
Listen, when I was growing up in the 80s, I was a weird kid, right? Because we say the Monkeys, I loved the Monkeys, but I loved all of that Stock Aitken and Waterman stuff. I loved it.
You were weird.
I was weird. No, because all my friends were into all the cool bands, whatever they were, and I was buying like Jason Donovan and Kylie Minogue.
Seriously?
Shut up.
People
Let's
never
go down
admit.
road with Mike.
People never admit to liking
Bucks Fizz.
No.
They wouldn't. Today, they've all grown up, they've all got kids, and they would say, actually, she loved you when you was performing. We couldn't tell people we liked you because they said, well, you like Bucks Fizz, but they've got all our records.
The Land of Make Believe is one of the great pop songs of all time. That's a stunning pop record.
Copies, so fortunately someone out there did like it enough to buy it.
And it's people can easily just associate you with the Eurovision, but you were a huge pop group. How many records did you sell all told, do you know?
Oh gosh, we don't really know. It's around 25 million, not really
There's
sure.
different. I mean, Mike Stock at the moment is saying 50 million, but if you think about it, Land of Make Believe sold 3 million and Making Your Mind Up sold 4 million alone.
Yeah.
So with all the other singles and all the albums, it probably isn't more like 50 million.
It's got to be well up there, yeah.
Tell us about the new album, because I genuinely, I know it's Mike Stock, but I do think Stock, Aitken and Walkman in the 80s, I think they were pop geniuses, because they were kind of like a sort of a white British Motown, and they just kept churning this stuff out.
It's got a formula that seems to work. And working with Mike has just been an amazing education, actually. And
Tell me about the new album. What is it?
The F to Z of Pop, it's called. F to Z of Pop.
Oh, I like that.
That was Jay's idea.
That's good.
You like that? And it's with the Roman numeral.
Right.
F2.
Yes.
So it looks like Fizz.
And how did it come about? Why did you decide in 2017?
The connection was made with Cheryl and Mike Stock through a tweet, so Cheryl should really explain that one.
It was because I follow Mike on Twitter and he follows me.
Yeah.
A Fizz fan called Andrew Hodgkins, he connected us in a tweet saying, how about, Mike Stock doing a Fizz album?
Wow.
And Mike actually responded and said, love to. So I PM'd him saying, really? And he went, yeah, let's do it. And that's how it happened.
That's how big record deals get done these days.
It's a tweet. It's amazing.
When he sent that message and we said, we're actually doing a show near you, and would you like to come? And him and his son James came, and we met them afterwards, and it was discussed, well, let's get together, let's do something.
Yeah.
And the first thing James said, he said, it'd be great to work with some singers.
Yeah, he did say that, actually. He said, there's people they've had in the studio, and they said, yes, well, we've had to work
He didn't name
hard.
No,
he didn't say who they were. Yeah. He told us who a couple of them were, so we can't say it, but it wasn't us. But
you should be so lucky if you found out who it was.
Oh,
no,
isn't he naughty?
No,
that's not true.
No, she was good.
She's incredible.
She was really good. And he took us in to the studio, and just working with him it was like old times, really, how he put us all down.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was just good. And then we leave, and we turn up. He said, "This is it," and he plays it. I'm thinking, "Oh my God, don't sound like this." Yeah,
he is a magician.
It was just perfect.
A musical wizard.
What was the song you were singing when I came in? You got the lovely little dance routine with the umbrellas there, a little bit of
new single,
Singing in the Rain.
It's Dancing in the Rain. That's the name of the single. It's called Dancing in the Rain, and we do a sort of nod to the old Gene Kelly tribute there with the umbrellas.
Now, when you guys were off sorting out the best earpieces, I know that Bobby's got the worst earpiece there, and we noticed.
Last in the list, I'm sorry.
Were you a fan of Bucks Fizz before you joined? You telling me that when they asked you to join, you kind of went and watched all the old videos of the routines.
They've got in contact with me a couple of times to join the band. And in fact, the last time was 2007. And Cheryl phoned me up and said, look, we're getting together again, we're going to go out and tour, Jay's with us, and would you like to join us? And I said, unfortunately, your timing's appalling. I'm actually moving to Italy next weekend.
Wow.
So that was out the window. Then Mike phoned me in 2014 and said, we're thinking about doing it. So I came over, had a chat, had a little sing through, and then the tour was mentioned, so I said, yeah, okay, well, let's do it. But I had to learn the dance routines. Yeah. So I had to look up Making Your Mind Up, I had to look Camera Never Lies, Land of Make Believe, Piece of the Action, which was initially when I started learning Piece of the Action with the arm movements, I was like an octopus on heat. I was all over the place. But I was going through the videos, so when I came for the rehearsals with the guys, and we said, okay, we're going to do Camera, and I went, oh, hang on a second, that's not right. Again, we've been doing this for 35 years. We know this routine inside out. I said, actually, you've got it wrong. Look. And I made them all sit down and watch the video, and they're all going, oh, yeah, I forgot we did that.
You fizzed the fizz.
I put the fizz back in the fizz, yeah.
And he's been telling us how to do it ever since.
I have.
We just ignore him, though.
I'd like the body language here. There's the three of you there, and there's you stood there on your own.
Billy, no, mate.
I don't want to say anything.
This is personal hygiene. It's a bit of an issue.
There's an actual photograph of us where all our heads are together.
Yeah.
But in this photograph, it's a black and white photograph. And I'm wearing a black jacket and a black polo neck.
And there's a black
black background.
Floating head.
Exactly that. There's a floating. My head is floating. There's no body to it. And Cheryl keeps saying to everyone, just in case he leaves, we can take that head out and put the other head in of the new person. So I'm reminded of that every day.
Looking for some other gentlemen with blonde highlights that they can just plonk in.
Dark-haired guys can come in. They'll be highlighted up. Don't worry about it.
It must have been. I mean, people take the piss out of Eurovision now. More, I mean, they did a bit in the 80s as well, but more so now. I think it's become more of a joke. But in the 80s, the Eurovision Song Contest, it was massive, and it was the songs that won it, whether they were British or English or European, they became huge hits, didn't they? I mean, it's a real starting board for a lot of careers.
Yeah, they did. I mean, before we won the Eurovision, I would buy Eurovision winning songs. So, and ABBA, of course sang in English, mind you. Yeah. I think it all changed when they said every country has got to sing in their own language, and now it's gone back to singing English. But yeah, it's changed. It's bigger. It's too big. But it's still a fantastic show.
It goes on. I don't understand why Australia are in it.
They're a great European country.
They're in Europe, for goodness sake.
Australia
right?
is not in Europe.
Well, why is it? Someone explained it to me that it's not Europe, but Eurovision is something different. But it's all very complicated. It goes on for like 2 or 3 nights now, doesn't it? The thing.
Yes.
It's too long.
Someone said bring in the World Contest. That would go on for months.
Yeah.
It really would. They'll do it in sections. I thought I couldn't cope with that. The Yamaha, the Eurovision, everything, all in one.
Yeah, they might do it. There'd have to be a lot of heats, and I don't suppose we'd only see probably the last couple of heats.
The good thing about it is we won't be doing it. No. I was definitely not.
We're never going to win that again, are we? I mean, everyone hates us at the moment.
No.
And also, but be honest, some of the... I was saying that Stock Aitken and Watermelon Geniuses, the song that Pete Watermelon did a few years ago was a stinker, I thought.
Appalling. That must have been in the back catalogue from the early 80s.
The guy that sung it?
Oh, it was dreadful.
Blew the dust off. And,
it wasn't real.
Must have been recorded in 1983.
That wasn't a good one to do. But then, of course, you then became huge. You became actual bona fide. You weren't one-hit wonders. You had a series of hits. Mike, it must have been fun being a pop star in the 80s.
We just had nothing but fun all the time. We were just... I mean, the lineup of the band was really strange because Cheryl and I were very, very close. We were okay with Jay and Bobby as well, but Chase was a bit of a loner. Right. And Bobby just sit there drinking tea all the time and just talking to the band. We'd be sodding around all the time, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Having so much fun. And we were always in trouble. But we just enjoyed it. It wasn't like a job. Yeah. It was just fun.
Yeah. It was wonderful. We had no idea about the business side of things. Me and him did anyway. And we'd be picked up in limousines. And I lived in a council flat, and the limousines would come and pick me up from my council flat. It was brilliant. I had gold discs on the wall, and then we'd go to the airport and we'd fly first class to Australia. We didn't realise at the time that they would actually recoup all that money out of what was due to us.
This is the great thing that every band finds out. They're paying for everything.
Absolutely, yeah. Our deal was like one of those dreadful ones from the 70s, and they just blew the dust off that one and moved it into 1981. So yeah, it wasn't. We didn't make a lot of money out of it, but we did have a good time.
We did have fun, didn't we? We had a great time.
We had to go and see the guy at Equity about it. Yeah. We were given the contract, and they said, it's just what we're going to do about it. So he said, we've got to go to Equity. We had no money, and Equity would read it, and he went through. He said, well, it's not a great deal. Do you think you're going to win it? And I said, yeah, we're definitely going to win it. The other said, well, we don't know. We haven't heard the songs yet. I said, no, we'll win with this song. He said, come on, just sign it. And I said, we did, didn't we? We just signed it. And then we won.
They'd have got other people with it.
Yeah,
exactly.
What we didn't know is he was fired a month later for misconduct because he wasn't a proper lawyer. And we'd actually signed a 20-year contract. Yeah.
When we signed it, when she handed it to us, she said, there's your contract, you can take the solicitors, do what you want with it, but if you don't agree to it, nothing's going to change in it, and if you don't like it, just go home and find someone else to take the place.
It was like 3 inches deep as well, that contract.
Well, you've got to remember, back in the day, that was Song for Europe was like the X Factor of today. Yeah. So you wake up on the 23rd of March, go to the rehearsal for Song for Europe, and if you win, which we all did... Then the next day you're on Radio 1, you're in all the front pages of the paper, Euros entry and all that stuff. Yeah. It was a big show back then.
And you've also got... there are a few bands that have got an iconic dance move, and I think of Adam Ant. You mentioned Adam Ant with the arms. The ripping off the skirts is just one of those wonderful. I mean, it seems so simple and naive now, doesn't it? With everything, everything's on display now. But at the time, it was like, wow, this is the sexiest, coolest thing we've ever seen.
Even today, last year, Cheryl had to do a presentation at school, and it was a bunch of kids from the age of 7 up to 13, and there was probably about 100 kids in the hall. Yeah. And the teacher said, "Oh, let me just show you what Cheryl Baker does," and she put the video on. She put the video on the screen. Oh, all right, Tone.
There we go.
There's a dolphin in the bay just saying hello. So she put the video on the screen, and so the kids were watching it. Yeah. And we're thinking, oh, well, here we go. But when it came to ripping the skirt off, all the kids, and as you say, everything's out there now, all the kids went, oh! And they put their hands to their mouth. And even 30 years later, they're still going, oh, my.
Who came up with that? You must have had it. Was that you?
No, I got it in my head.
You idiot.
It came about by chance because we were having a meeting. We had so many meetings.
Oh, don't talk about meetings.
Anyway, we had this meeting and everybody was there, the record label, the production, the choreographer, all of us, management, and they were all saying, what should we wear? Jay wanted to wear a short skirt. I wanted to wear a long skirt because I've got footballer's thighs. And
he wants them back by Thursday.
And so we were to-ing and frying what we're going to wear. And and I said, oh, for goodness sake, let's have both. Really just throwing it away. Yeah. And the choreographer said, that's it, on the line. If you want to see some more, the top skirt comes off. And thank goodness for it. We would not have won the Eurovision without the rip-off skirts.
Isn't it funny? Everyone needs a gimmick. And I mean, what a charming gimmick.
And Velcro. What a rip-off. What a rip-off Velcro is.
Right, listen, so the tour, what kind of venues are you playing? Where do you know?
Up and down the country. Okay. Scotland, Wales, all over. And if anyone's interested, they can look on thefizz.com.
Thefizz.com.
Yeah, that will have all our dates.
You should come to the Sevenoaks. Is that nearer for you in
I don't know where's Sevenoaks. I live in Windsor.
Oh, we're in Windsor.
You're in Windsor at the theatre.
Sunday.
Next Sunday.
I'm there. I'm coming then. Oh, I'm coming.
You have to buy your own tickets, though.
I'll sort you out.
Thank you, Cheryl. Exactly. I was never sure about Mike, but now that has been proved. All right. And so, give us the name of the album again.
The F to Z of Pop.
The F to Z of Pop.
It is, isn't it?
And for tour information, you can go to thefizz.com.
And it's all new songs on the album? All new stuff?
No. There's 3 old Fizz songs, which is Camera, Land of Make Believe and Piece of the Action. Fantastic. But they've done, with today's technology. And everything else is new.
Brilliant.
So all the tracks, Mike and Bobby and Jay have written some. My daughter wrote one. So
did she really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, isn't
it?
Yeah. Which one did your daughter write? We'll play that one.
Amen.
And we're going to play that one. That's the one.
I love you.
Yeah.
No, play No Turning Back.
No.
Mike and I wrote that.
I'm going to play the one that her daughter wrote.
No, we can play Jay's one.
I'll play them all at some point.
What you play, that helps sell it.
We will get. Listen, I love you lot so much. I think you're brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and I wish you the best of luck. It's so nice to see you here, even with this fella.
When is this going out?
This will go out probably one night this week. I don't know where we are. What date?
It'll be out before Sunday.
It'll be out before Sunday.
Well, you can say you come to the show on Sunday then.
There we go, you see. Can I watch you rehearse a song? Would that be all right?
Yeah, of course you can.
Thank you.
Bobby, you're going to see...
In your eyes, little one, where do you go to dream? To a place we all know, the land of make-believe. Voices whisper
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fulton. See you later. Thank you very much, everybody. That looks so good. See you later. Wow. How cool was that? How cool was that? Absolutely delightful.
Kick off your slippers. Don't go to bed. The party is just starting. You can sleep when you're dead. The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
That was fun, wasn't it? We're live again. Always feel I have to... Oh, hang on a second, that's my computer. Always feel I should tap the microphone and say it's 11:47 on Monday evening, so you know we're live. Just to say, when that interview's on, because I can't bear to listen to the sound of my own voice. So me and Kath go out and we sort of watch telly, and we spoke to Andy Goldstein, and we were having a chat. When we came in, I looked at the Periscope feed, for that was running the whole time. And there were like 240 people watching. An empty room. Then when we came back, it dropped down to about 60. What the hell was that all about? They were great. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll put that out as a podcast as well tomorrow. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. We like letters. It's a long letter. Shall I read? I've not read this yet. Have you read all of this?
Yeah, I've not really fully understood it.
If you want to write to us, Iain Lee or Catherine Boyle, Talk Radio, 18 Hatfields, SE1 8DJ. Good evening, Iain and Catherine. I thought I'd write because I know you're both busy making a radio show. More relevant is that I've never owned a computer or had private access to an internet.
Oh.
Private access.
He has to be supervised?
So, well, he goes to libraries or... It's a man, is it?
Yes.
I've been enjoying your output individually and collectively since the other place. You don't dumb down, do you? Not ever. You don't include deliberate errors for the purpose of increasing listener feedback. You don't mock science, DIY, mechanics or engineering, and yet have a perfect post-war understanding of Burmese opposition politics. Guys, anyone?
That's kind of where I got lost.
You're both polymaths without ersatz media shame. All three of us know who was the greatest British radio host and disc jockey of all time. Do we now? The pair of you only rank joint second in the pantheon of wireless. First, if we're counting those still standing. So who's dead then that was better than us?
What?
John Peel?
Wogan.
I totally concur with your observations of Maggie Philbin, Bonnie Langford and Katie Puckrick. Can I add Lisa Tarbuck, Sue Calman and Eileen Stargazy Pocock to the list? OK, Kath, you too. OK.
Can't remember what those observations were originally, but thank you.
I think we know.
Oh.
I take it you don't care for radio producers Teflon, the mediocre Sainsbury's pork chef poster boy, disappointing spawn of Leverstock's Greens mug making memory. If anybody has any ideas what this letter's about, 0344 499 1000. You see, I'm a revisionist historian and I'm very good at it too. I have 1,001 topics which might put a rocket up your show's arse. It shouldn't be necessary. Your interviews and jaunts are absolutely first-rate, insightful, enthusiastic, never blasé. I don't have a television. I haven't had such in 20 years, and when I did, I was working 13-hour shifts for a minimum 6 days every week. No holiday, no Christmas. If I said I discovered time travel back in 86, you'd think I was crazy, yes? Who'd have thought that the 7H2 woodpecker was just over the road? Enough already. Let us start close to home. This is,
That was just the preamble.
Wow. Kath's a Salford girl. Given there's 14,000 named locations in the United Kingdom, do we know why the BBC should have lock, stock and 2 smoking microphones to that very precise conurbation? I do. I don't have a motor car, but no doubt you've both driven the length and breadth of Great Britain. Mile after mile after mile of housing, huge sprawling estates, high-rise, new builds, medium-rise, villages, market towns, seaside towns, castles, caravans and boats. There's wagon drivers in their cabs, there's firemen playing pool, there's key clockers having a sit-down between patrols. Literally millions of these. F me, I haven't even included the global audience on their internets. Now we know you have the best show on radio, on national radio. I say again, on national radio. It seems a little puzzling that your switchboard has fewer here we go. It seems a little puzzling that your switchboard has fewer callers than Possum Creek FM broadcasting on 30 watts on a pole above Ronnie's tyres. Revisionism explains why this shouldn't be, yet it is so. Call me if you like, but I'd rather you emailed initially, so I may give considered evidence and replies. Best regards, Iain.
He said email, but he says he doesn't have a computer.
Aha! Well, you can do it on your phone. I was one of those listening to talk radios in the 90s incarnation when Tommy, one for Sorrow Boyd, started reporting the news before the news ever happened. Babcock and Andre are your two celebrity Michiganers. I'm going to phone him up.
Yeah, because I'm
going to phone him up, because that's...
Maybe this letter is written for a cleverer person. But I don't get it.
Okay. Oh, Iain in Milton Keynes, the name comes up.
So he's rung us before.
So who is he? I'm confused. It's a weird letter, isn't it? Not for all the tea in China, or the corn in Carolina.
He's gone out.
Good evening.
Good evening, Iain. It's Iain Lee. You're on the radio. How are you doing?
Oh, hello. I'm doing fine, thank you, Iain.
We just read your delightful letter. First of all, thank you for taking the time to write to us, because so few people do these days. No one writes to anyone anymore. Can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
What the hell are you banging on about in it, man? I couldn't make head nor tail of it.
I was basically just so puzzled why you were having so few listeners. Considering it's a national station,
yes.
Considering how well known you are, considering how good Kath and yourself are,
yes.
Mathematically, statistically, it just seemed totally inconceivable that your switchboard should be empty at times.
Well, you've mentioned two different things, and in the letter you mention the switchboard, but you don't mention the number of listeners, and they are two separate statistics.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I meant callers. I didn't mean callers. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, how many callers do you think we should get?
Well, considering you're a national station and you're I would assume your switchboard should never be empty.
Put a number on it.
I would say if you had 8 lines, you should have 8 lines ringing all night long.
Why? I'm not having a go. I'm just genuinely curious. Why? Because that's not how radio works.
Okay, I'm not on the internet. I don't have the internet at home.
You've sent us your email address.
Yeah. Yeah, I use the internet in the library when I'm in town.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't have access to it at home. But when you consider that people can be listening to your show all over the world, all over Europe, at work, if they've got lonely jobs, if they're like myself, I sometimes work nights. Nothing better to do. Listen to the radio when there's lorry drivers in their cabs, when there's people on boats and in caravans and on holiday and stuck in places. Shift workers.
But no one has...
And we've got all over Europe and all over the world.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, why? Why is the switchboard empty?
Well, the switchboard isn't empty. That's your first error, is the switchboard isn't empty. Sometimes we don't have any calls for a short period, but there's a call waiting now. So it isn't empty. And what would be the point of having 10 full lines? Why would... I don't understand. That wouldn't work.
If you consider, say, the last place you worked at, I won't name it, but if you ever try and get... that's only a very, very limited geographical area.
Yeah.
If you ever try and get through to there, it's almost an impossibility getting onto that radio station.
Why? Is it because it's engaged or because they don't answer?
Both.
No, it won't, because they're engaged. If they don't answer when you ring through, that's because they've put a warning by your name. They've put a symbol by your name. That's what that will be.
Or they're talking to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they do answer. But another thing which kind of Oh, sorry, I'm losing the thread here. Sorry, carry on.
Hang on, do they not answer all... Because you said they don't, it's almost impossible to get them to answer, and then you said they answer.
Yeah, it's... Another thing I really think that the people should notice about your show is that you don't encourage callers by talking about, by putting factual errors into the show, which I think people really respect when they hear your show. They don't want to call in to correct the mistakes you're making, and I think...
Well, because I don't make mistakes. I'm a very precise...
You are, exactly.
Broadcaster.
And that's another reason why I'm so surprised, because people put up with this, particularly on local radio.
Yes, oh God, it's a lazy trick.
And, you know, they're putting in these errors in their show to encourage people to call in.
I would never do this. Listen, Ian, don't worry. We're getting... No, of course not. I'm better than that. Listen, we are getting exactly the number of callers that I want to get. So don't you worry about that, Ian. We're all good here. I appreciate your concern, but we're all good.
It just seems mathematically odd.
Not
mathematically, statistically odd.
No, OK. Well, Ian, I've got to go. Stay there. Listen, we'll come to you after this.
Talk Radio.
0344 499 1000. We'll carry on chatting to Ian in a second. I am Iain Lee. This is the Late Night Alternative. You won't hear anything like this. You're listening to Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
He has made a covenant with the night, and with the darkness he is in agreement.
Uncut after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee
on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
We're taking the time to respond. We had a lovely letter from Ian, which left... I'll be honest, it left me scratching my head a little bit. It seemed to be lots of riddles and things. If you want to write to us, always happy to receive good old-fashioned letters. Send it to either me or Kath. Talk Radio, 18 Hatfields, London, SE1 8DJ, and we get all our own post, unless it's anthrax, in which case we hand that over to Andy Goldstein. Ian was the gentleman. So, Ian, you were... So how... Because I'm happy with the number of callers, and the number of callers is growing. And if you've been listening over the last 5-6 weeks, the number of voices is growing. We're getting new people. I mean, the first 3 or 4 calls this evening were all new people. The thing is, about doing a late night show as opposed to doing a breakfast show is, we have got the time to talk to people. So there's no point... We've got 10 lines that can call in. So there's no point in having 10 calls racked up, because... if the people are interesting, I can sit with a caller for an hour if they're interesting.
Absolutely. It's I was just very surprised. I've spoken to James Whale and Ash a couple of times on a few little points, and I was just amazed how easy it is just to get through.
Well, hang on. That's a different thing. That's a different show. Yeah. So you can't compare. We get more calls than they do. And you were about to say back in the old days it was hard to get through, weren't you?
Well, I can go back all the way back to Capital Radio back in the 1970s, or even Talk Radio from the late 1990s. I was a huge fan in the 1990s.
Yes.
When Tommy Boyd and James Whale were on the air, and I was trying to get people into listening to it when they were on FM.
Yes.
But of course, I never had one of these wonderful telephones with sort of almost free calls, and they call you back, and you call me back.
Yes.
And it is just so easy to get your point across.
Here's the thing. You've partly answered the question in that sentence you just said.
Yeah, but a lot of the content of your programme is... No,
focus on this. Ian, focus on this. The reason why perhaps we have less callers than they have in the 90s, and I say perhaps, that's a caveat which I'll come back to, but you kind of partly answered the question in that last sentence you said.
Yeah.
What?
If I would have one tiny criticism...
No, we'll get to the criticism in a minute. I want you to focus. Yeah. What was the answer?
You caught me out again, Ian.
I'm not trying to. You've asked why we seemingly have less calls than in the 90s, and yet you have just said part of the answer. It's a very complicated answer, but you've just said one small part of the answer.
Because people are communicating via the internet.
Partly, but that wasn't what you said. Shall I tell you?
Yes, please.
How did you used to listen to talk radio?
On FM FM back in the day.
Yep.
Yes.
And
at work.
No. You've just said.
Yeah, of course, because there wasn't such thing as if people were listening at work. No. You couldn't use a work phone.
No. It was on. Ian. It's not as complicated as you make. It used to be on FM. I don't know if it was on FM. I thought it was on shortwave, medium wave. But anyway, it was on.
You're right, Ian. You're right. Absolutely right.
I generally am. But it was on medium wave, so it could be heard across the country by everybody because everybody's radio has medium wave. We're on DAB now. Now DAB is a much smaller platform. It has a smaller reach and it has a smaller listenership and less people are aware of it. Some people have got DAB radios and they don't even know that they are DAB radios. So it's going to have a much smaller audience.
But I think more important than that is the fact that people have these pocket telephones now that they can ring up from with free.
That's irrelevant. That's absolutely. I don't know why you keep mentioning that because that's got nothing to do with it. It's going to have a smaller audience if it's broadcast in a format that a smaller number of people can access.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
DAB is still very much aimed at the radio nuts, the radio geeks.
Yeah, and some people say it's a failure. Some people say DAB died 5 years ago. I don't know, but that's the thing. So it's instantly going to have less.
I do ask the question though: why the bit rate is so low that you?
Oh no, you don't have to question that. You don't have to question that.
You can't have hi-fi.
No, that's a dull.
On the DAB.
That's a dull question. You don't have to ask that. That's a dull question.
It's a good question.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a very, very boring. It's a very, very boring question.
If they had increased
I can see why you don't get on BBC Three Counties radio with calls like that. It's a dull question, and it doesn't affect us because we're a speech station.
Exactly, it doesn't affect you, but it would get more people onto
No,
DAB.
it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
If they could get
Ian,
quality. You're a music lover like me, Ian. You love your music.
Ian, it wouldn't, mate. We're a speech station. We're not a music station. So having and I'm going to indulge this for a little bit, but trust me, this bit's dull. Having a higher bit rate would have very little impact on the quality of a speech radio station.
But people would turn on to DAB.
No, they wouldn't.
To listen to Radio 4 and Radio 2.
Dude, they wouldn't. Radio 4 is a speech station.
I know, okay, bad example to use. But people would turn on...
They wouldn't. No one gives a stuff... No one gives a stuff about bit rates. Only like that. I'm a radio geek, and I couldn't give a stuff about bit rates.
But we can all hear it, Ian.
We can't, dude.
I can, and I've only got a very cheap piece of
No, because you are one of these anal people that thinks the bit rate is important. We're going off on a tangent. The bit rate... No, Ian.
Trying to get more people onto the DAB from FM, and then they'll find you.
Ian, they won't, because they have to buy new radios. That's the thing. People have got radios that have been sat in their kitchen for 5, 10, 15, 30 years that work. They don't want to go and spend 50, 60 quid on a DAB radio. People don't want to pay. And now new cars are having DAB radios in, but that's only just starting to happen. The bit rate is a complete MacGuffin, particularly when you're talking about speech radio. The bit rate has almost no impact on it whatsoever.
I totally agree. What you say is completely correct. But if you want people to flick that switch, when they've got their new equipment at Christmas or on their birthday, when they've got that new radio, if you want them to flick that switch, the problem is when they want to listen to a bit of music, whatever station they pick, not talk radio, is that they find it's just crackery and not crackery.
Mate, you talk about how you used to listen to this station on medium wave. You're banging on you're talking about bit rates on DAB when you used to listen on medium wave. So we have you have completely argued against yourself. The bit rate thing is irrelevant, man. And trust me, as someone who it is for 99% of the people. It's only sad cases to whom it's not irrelevant for. And trust me, I know radio, and I know that the last 3 minutes talking about bit rates is dull.
Yeah, okay, I'll agree with that.
Thank you.
Yes.
But I still can't make any... honestly, man, if you want to write a letter saying, I don't understand why you've not got that many callers... Then why don't you write a letter saying, I don't understand why you've not got that many callers? Because I honestly, I've read this, I can't make head and the tail of it, man. Honestly, I appreciate you writing it, but I can't make any sense of it.
I was just praising how much I've enjoyed you and Kath, especially Kath. Especially at the other place. I always said to people that you should watch out for this Kath Boyle. She is good.
There you go.
When she used... Yes, I did. When she used to do the inserts and the pre-records for the old station, I mean, she still is, just superb. She'd do these funny little inserts and bits and pieces to go a little further
she's brilliant.
into the show.
She's brilliant.
Exactly.
That's why I poached her and brought her here.
Exactly. And when I heard the pair of you were on Talk Radio, I thought this is going to be amazing. And it is.
And it is amazing. But honestly, dude, I genuinely appreciate the letter, and I appreciate you having a little bit of a discussion with me, allowing me to pick your brains. But don't worry about the number of calls. We've got just the right number of calls that we need for the moment.
It is. It's also just one tiny little point. A lot of your show is like, there's a lot of mention of things like Periscope and the internet and Twitter. And all these.
There's also a lot of talk about bit rates, apparently.
My apologies there, Ian. But a lot of people who are listening to the radio this time of night are listening because they don't have access to the internet.
Utter bollocks. That is the biggest load of crap you've spoken in the last 20 minutes, with respect. That is rubbish. Because you may not have access to the internet, but everybody else listening to this show has got a laptop, or they've got a tablet, or they've got an iPad, or they've got a Kindle Fire, or they've got a phone that allows them to go on the internet. So you are wrong. And we don't bang on about it all the time. Here's the thing, right? We're a new radio station, and on a format that we've already discussed, doesn't have the reach that FM or medium wave has. DAB doesn't. So I have to hook as many people as I can using every trick up my sleeve. So I mentioned Periscope. So I mentioned you can listen online, because a lot of my listeners do listen online. I know that as a fact. When our show starts at 10 o'clock, the listening figures online shoot up. I know that. We've got the highest online listening figures of the entire station. So it's really, really important. You mentioned worldwide. People can't listen worldwide on DAB. They don't have DAB in America because it was never introduced over there. The DAB in Europe is completely different. They can't listen to us on DAB. They have to listen online.
Yeah, I do appreciate, yes. Yeah, I can totally understand why you're going wherever across the whole media. It's gone, internet this, internet that, and I'd be doing it myself if I had the internet. I'd be doing it myself, but still, what can I say? I love the show. It's brilliant.
Thank you, Ian. Nice one, mate. Take care.
You too.
Cheers, bye-bye. 0344 499 1000. John has been waiting forever and a day. I do apologise, John. What have you got for us, boss?
That's right, mate. I was I couldn't really hear it because the bit rate's so low. I was struggling there on the call. Sorry about that.
I do apologise. We'll put a coin in the meter and see if we can get that bit rate up.
I was cycling on the old dynamo trying to get the old the electricity back up. I'm back up to speed now.
I do apologise to all of those who are upset with our bit rate.
Disappointing bit rate.
Very low bit rate stats.
Story of my life.
Anyway, go on, buddy. What you got?
Well, I've got a couple of things, really. First of all, I just want to say, first time I've spoke to you since Tag in the park.
Oh, mate, yeah, wasn't that fun?
It was such a good laugh. Really enjoyed it. Really, really. Even though I was a late guy, even though, it was, really enjoyed that.
It was, thank you for reminding me of that, because, that was a really, really fun afternoon, and it was stupid, and we laughed. I was really going for it, that one, more so than the first one.
You were.
I did my arms in because I was doing a lot of stretching, reaching people. I was knackered. Oh, nice one, John. Thank you, mate.
No, yeah, it's just that sort of, like you're just saying then, silly. It's just something that, especially in the current climate, it's just something to be able to go out and have a laugh.
Yeah.
And not care about anything. It's just and to see so many other people that felt the same way. Yeah. It was wicked. Really enjoyed it.
It melted my heart when I saw the people just kept, and when I thought we had it with 20 people, then another 5, then we had about 50 in the end. Oh, it was a joy.
Especially against the backdrop of a load of boring old farts arguing about stuff that they can't change.
Wasn't that ridiculous as well?
I know my book better than you know your book!
And then them having the audacity to sneer what we were doing, for heaven's sake.
Oh, thank you, John. Nice one.
Who was the more childish there? Yeah.
Go on, what else you got?
A couple of things. And a little while ago, you're talking about pop music and that now. We spoke a little while ago, last year. You were talking about playing The Streak because of your dad.
Oh, yeah, Ray Stevens' The Streak, yes.
Yeah. And I phoned up and spoke about my nan and granddad about feeling glad all over.
Yep.
And her name was Glad. And then I just got to thinking today about I don't know if it counts as pop music, but Billy Joel or Joel, however you want to pronounce it. Tell her about it.
Tell her about it. Da, 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 da. That's a great song. That's a finger clicker.
I used to listen to that before I went to school because there's a girl I used to really like at school, and I used to listen to that to get me hyped up to go, right, I'm going to do it, I'm going to tell her. And as soon as I left the house, bottle dropped.
Yeah, of course it did.
Gone, couldn't do it. But
did you ever tell her about it?
No, I didn't tell her about anything.
Mate.
You've got to give her every reason to accept that you're for real.
Mate, and I know what that's like.
For real, though.
I know what... you know what? That's a really good image you put... Because I remember listening to pop songs to give me confidence to speak to girls. And it does. It can make you, for a short period, it can make you feel like you've taken a pill or something. You're a superhero for a little bit.
Yeah.
I know totally that going to school longing, thinking today is the day, and then walking home again dejected because you never got the guts to do it, mate. Oh, I remember that.
Just walking up into the school playground and just going, and then just walking away because you just thought it just went.
Yeah. But you know what?
Sinking feeling. Go on, Kathy.
The girls never realised that was happening because they were all in their own little whirl of trying to work out whether the guy they had their eye on, and it might have been you, was ever going to make a move, but the boys were always too cool.
No, I was. I guess you could call me one of the in-betweeners. I was sort of like that.
Yeah.
So,
I was.
It's a bit of thing. But yeah, I mean, pop music. People I've seen on your Twitter feed today, people are snobby about it, but for me, it's almost like a drug. It gives you can remember smells and sounds and sights. It's just, and you can put on, like I just mentioned that there, and you can remember the words instantly.
Yeah. They are burnt in the back of your brain. And Kath was joking about the Jason Donovan record. When we're old and senile in the care home, we'll be singing that.
Yeah, it won't be Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Yeah, that's what
it'll be the Wham rap.
Bad boys. And of course, with my name being John Taylor as well, you got Duran Duran thrown in there as well.
There you go, buddy. There you go. Nice one, John. Thank you, mate. I enjoyed that.
No, one last thing. Can I just say sorry? So at the at the game of tag, it reminded me of a thing. Years and years ago, my brother went up to Virgin Megastore when that was still in London. Was it Virgin?
Yeah,
Tower Records.
Tower Records, another one, great shop. Yeah.
And he had a copy of FHM magazine when Terry Hatcher was named World's Sexiest Woman.
Oh, yeah,
wowzers! Yes.
And she was signing copies of it there, and he took his up to go and get his signed, and he was queuing up, and he got up to her and. She said, right, who should I make this, who should I sign it to? And he just went, he couldn't actually remember his name. He was so starstruck that and she just went, I'll just say, to my biggest fan.
Oh, good for her.
That's how I felt when I met you at the
What? Hang on. Is he saying that he's not won out over a picture of me, like his brother did with Terry Hatcher?
To the point where he can't speak anymore. Wow. Yes, that's exactly what he's saying.
Oh, John.
Yeah. Hang on.
I'll make it out, John, to my biggest fan. Listen, mate. You're very, very kind.
On Periscope.
Yeah.
It's good job this isn't on Periscope.
I know, isn't it? Listen, that's a very, very kind and generous thing to say, John, and I take that as a great compliment, mate. Thank you very much indeed.
Bit awkward. I was talking to Kath.
Oh, he's cut off. He's gone. All right, we're not having that. I'm not having that. That is. Let's go to a break.
Set free your mind. Let your fancy take flight. Conversation gets curiouser by the glow of moonlight. The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
I am for a Monday show. No, Tuesday. Oh, that explains it. It's Tuesday. Monday show was a car crash. Apart from Katie Puckrick. Well, it nearly was a car crash. She got stopped by the old Bill dropping off Katie Puckrick.
Well, after, thank God.
That's why when she came back, she was, she was late and she was sheepish. You've been pulled over by the police.
Got busted by the feds.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, did they find that grass?
No.
Hey.
It was well tucked away.
Speaking of grasses, good evening, Chris.
Good evening.
Snitches get stitches.
Pardon?
Snitches get stitches.
Do they?
Yes,
well,
they do.
I've never been a snitch.
Have you
Grasses get smacked.
There we go.
Bottoms.
Good evening, Catherine.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, you.
Hello.
Yes.
Why did you say snitches get stitches?
What? No reason?
You call me a grass? I've never grassed all my life.
Well, then you'll be okay then.
Yes.
Yeah. Just a useful little reminder, I think.
Go on, Chris. Go on. Tell us what you were going to say.
You phone me. You
phoned us.
You phone a. I liked your interview with and for the life of me I can't remember the band's name.
Bucks Fizz.
Bucks Fizz, of course.
Yeah. They're good, aren't they? They're lovely people.
I liked all the pop songs, see, from the 80s.
Yep. All of them?
That was my era, that was. I used to go to nightclubbing and, Lost my sight now. Never mind.
Is it?
All right.
Are you smoking? You got a fag on?
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. That's fine. That's fine. I once at another radio station.
I know it's a filthy habit.
No, it's not. It's a noble sport. Another radio station, when they introduced the smoking ban, I occasionally did a thing where I'd get people we'd have a smoking break, and I would get people to phone up, and they could have a fag on, and we'd just go, right, we're going to have a smoking break now for 5 minutes, and people would phone up and they'd smoke a fag down the phone. Maybe I need to reintroduce that. It's delightful.
You don't need to reintroduce it. It happens all the time.
Well, we ban from smoking everywhere. So we ban from smoking when you ring up a radio station.
Sorry?
We ban from.
Who was I banned?
No. When you smoke on, if you phone up a radio station,
yes,
you're a smoker.
Yes.
Are you banned?
No, you're allowed to smoke whilst on the telephone.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't go down the phone, Ian.
No, but I can hear you going. Can you hear that?
I know. I do apologise. Sorry.
Yep, that's okay. It's not me you've got to apologise to.
Who do I need? Oh, that's another question. I need to apologise to my partner.
Nope.
Actually. Oh, gosh.
Why have you got to apologise to your partner? What have you done?
Nothing.
Oh.
Nothing. We go out. I've been down. Yeah. I don't know.
What's going on with you, Chris? I'm sensing some heavy woes. I can feel a burden, brother. Why don't you let me carry some of that burden? Part of
No. I carry the burden of myself. Actually,
let me carry some of that burden, at least for a few steps on your journey, brother. Share with me. I can't. I can't. Why?
I do it myself.
Okay. Is it something so wicked that you can't tell?
No. What do you mean? What do you mean wicked?
Evil.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm not wicked and evil person.
But yet there's something, you've done something that you can't tell me.
I've not done anything. You're steering me into a car crash now, aren't you?
Would never steer anyone into a car crash.
See, and that's what my partner does to me. And
maybe you're too easily steered.
Maybe. You know what winds me up? It winds me up when you go into an hotel or going, oh, we got a guide dog with us, and this guide dog is not allowed in. It winds me up.
Well, also, that's illegal. Guide dogs are allowed in hotels.
In reality, yes.
Yeah, well, no, in law, guide dogs are allowed in hotels, and if a hotel does not allow your guide dog in, you can phone the authorities.
Phone the police. 999.
No. 101. 101 if you're struggling.
That's why I don't have a guide dog.
Sorry? Why are you complaining about not being allowed in with a guide dog when you don't have one?
My partner does.
Well, she legally is allowed to go in anywhere with a guide dog.
I know. She's going to Algeria next week.
Yes, and you're looking after the guide dog, am I correct?
We had a little conversation on the bus on the way home.
No, we didn't.
Not you. We... Shut up.
What happened in this conversation, Chris?
She said, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Ooh, wow.
And I went shopping to buy this bloody chocolate for her. Sorry for swearing.
Is this the good news?
No, that's another story.
Let's focus on the good news, bad news story.
The good news... No, she said she didn't know which was the good news or which was the bad news, because I was very apprehensive of looking after a dog for 3 weeks. You know, when I go down to her house, we don't live together.
No.
Thank God.
Is that the good news or is that the bad news?
The good news or the bad news?
What did give? She must have had two pieces of news to give you. Let's hear them, and then we'll see if we can work out which one was the G and which one was the B.
Well, she said I was second choice to look after a guide dog.
Oh,
right. Was there any other news she gave you?
She said, guide dogs for the blind. They have borders.
What, like lodges?
Yes. Huh? And they look after the dog for her.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not looking after the dog?
No.
So is that the good news or the bad news? Only you can answer that question.
Well, she couldn't either.
Well, no, but only you will know the answer as to whether you not looking after her guide dog is good news or bad news.
It was quite a relief, actually.
Good news?
Yes.
So good news, you haven't got to look after her guide dog. Bad news, you're not the loving, committed partner that she was hoping you were.
That's awful.
Well,
I would have looked at...
Begrudgingly?
Yeah. Why do you hate the dog so much?
That's unfair, Catherine.
Go on.
What do you mean? When I went down to her house on the weekend, her guide dog pinched my boot. I was looking for my boot. Are you looking for this? Ziggy, her guide dog, had my boot.
Oh dear.
I would have looked after her. Of course I would have.
But you'd never have seen your boots again. Well, choice of words.
Yes, another in a long line of thefts.
I've never pinched anything in my life.
Against you?
I've never pinched anything in my life.
Yet another in a long line of thefts against you.
You know, I used to teach many years ago.
Yep.
And because I got in trouble and I helped somebody, I can't do that anymore.
You got in trouble, you helped somebody. Normally helping people would be considered a boon for teachers. What did you help somebody do?
No. She came back into the UK and that's what got me in trouble.
Someone coming into the UK?
Yes.
How can that get you in trouble?
It's a long story.
We're here until 1 o'clock, maybe even longer if we need to be.
Get up.
Well, thanks for your call, Chris.
I love listening to your show, and it was nice to listen to Cheryl and
Bucks Fizz.
Bucks Fizz.
There we go.
There we go.
So many.
That was deliciously uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The late night alternative with that man, Iain Lee. There's no strangers here, just friends you haven't stalked on Facebook yet.
Have never sent my picture to anyone who didn't request it.
The late night alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Yes.
0344 499 1000. And despite the letter and call to Iain, the switchboard is very, very busy. You can call in. We may not get to all of the calls that we have on the switchboard so far, but who knows? If a first time, here's the thing: I've got some calls here, and hopefully we'll squeeze them all in, because some of them have been waiting for ages. But if a delicious first timer called up, I'd be a tart, and I'd let them jump straight to the front of the queue. Let's do these in the order in which they arrived. It's Hoover. It's David Badcock.
Hi, Ian.
Hey, David, how you doing, mate?
Well, I'm a bit lachrymose.
Bit?
Oh.
Lachrymose.
Does that mean you're allergic to milk?
No, it means
that's
it's a bit wet around his... Have you got any tissues?
I'm not lactating, don't worry.
Have you got any tissues, David, for the lachrymosity?
What, for my tears?
Yeah.
Oh.
What's wrong, buddy?
Well, that last call was hardly a barrel of laughs, wasn't it?
Well, this hour's been quite maudlin. Maudlin at midnight. Monty Maudlin at midnight.
It was the guy before that, actually, that set me off.
Go on.
With the stories of the lost loves at school.
Oh, go on.
And the thing about the songs pepping you up.
Yeah. What songs pep you up?
Well, it wasn't so much to pep me up, but I had a thing for this girl for quite a long time in secondary school.
Yes.
I think we know what the thing was.
No, it wasn't my penis.
Oh.
And, well...
Oh.
So I thought about it for a long time, and you'll see why afterwards. But there was a particular Four Top song that I thought might be fitting if I sang that to her in the playground at Flopburton Secondary.
Yes.
She would be mine. So one day I tried it. I strolled up to her at break time after eating my sandwiches, and I said, "Bernadette!" Because her name was Bernadette, you see.
Yes, yes.
But I couldn't remember the next line.
Right.
So I shouted her name at her. So I shouted, "Bernadette!" And she turned round and she looked at me in a look which I'll never forget. And it was the look of pure horror. Because in the panic, I'd wet myself. I'd wet myself all in my trousers. That's it. Hello? Am I still on? That's the end of the story. Oh. Bernadette. I still think of you sometimes when I'm naked in bed. Masturbating. I hope I'm not still on, because that was a bit saucy, that.
Stimulating nightly emissions guaranteed to open your eyes and your mind.
Oh, my word.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
0344 499 1000. Good evening, Dom.
Evening, boss. You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate.
Excellent. Am I right in inferring that Chris didn't really uphold his under the call?
Say that again. I didn't understand any of that.
Am I right in inferring
yes.
that Chris didn't really uphold his end of the call?
That's an excellent way of putting it. Yes, I would. I think that inference is correct. Yes, it was a very one-sided call. The interesting thing about Chris, and I do enjoy his calls. Some people on Twitter are saying we were being mean. Oh no, not at all. We weren't being mean at all. Well, we were just. asking him questions that he declined to answer, and
but he started them.
He would start things, and we just hit. I think people maybe people thought we were being mean because of the silences, but it's not my job to if someone phones up, I kind of imagine they have something they want to say, so I'm quite happy to sit back and let them fill in the silences. So it wasn't mean
also,
at all.
We know he was toking on a fag, so I was waiting for him to breathe out so he could continue his sentences.
So, no, it wasn't mean at all. But
he's a mystery, though, isn't he?
Thanks, everybody, for producing online.
An enigma.
Ah, dearie me. What you got for us, boss?
Oh, a couple of things. Slugger there. Did me proud.
What are you talking about? Why is everyone speaking in riddles?
It's talking about the rabbit hole and me.
I've heard somebody else.
Do you know what, though? It's given me a right...
Taste for blood.
No, I was going to say I regret doing it now. Not because I...
I wouldn't, because I'll be honest, him and that lot wouldn't shut up for the last 20 minutes. So I felt actually deserved.
He keeps banging on about it now as if I really hurt him, when actually I whispered to him, pretend it really hurt. So
he don't know pain.
No, he doesn't know pain. If I was really going for it, he would be out.
It did. It was great. Everyone came to the rabbit hole. We had a great time, but there were people that wouldn't shut up. It's like, just okay, guys, that's great, but no one can hear what you're saying, so we'll carry on doing this. Thanks very much. There was a bit of that, I thought. At the end. I don't know. It was a stressful day. It's a very stressful day.
It was a good show, though.
I disagree, but thank you. I found it very, very stressful, and I found it just a little bit cold.
Yeah.
But again, it's not the audience's fault at all. That's I think that's us. But we'll
it's
see.
Also the venue. I felt like we were a long way away from them.
Yeah. It was lovely. I mean, beautiful venue. But we are. Where are we? Scunthorpe on the 1st of October, I think. And we've sold about 30, 40 tickets. Brighton on the 14th. There's nearly sold. I think there's 5 seats left for Brighton.
Gosh.
Unprecedented scenes. And in Hull, we've sold 7. So, ups and downs, swings and roundabouts. We'll see how it goes. I kind of think, and I'm saying this now, Catherine, that we've got these wonderful dates booked up, and we've got Wolverhampton is on sale now, which I think is the 4th of November. I'll tweet all these again over a few days.
And Luton.
Luton. Oh, Luton's on sale now. Luton goes on sale tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning. In 8 hours it goes on sale. And then Belfast in January. I think over Christmas we need to take a step back and have a rethink as to if we wish to continue, and if we wish to continue, how we wish to continue. I think we need to have those questions of the flow chart.
Yeah, because the thing is, right, we wanted to keep it separate from the radio show, and it keeps... Despite our best efforts, it keeps overlapping.
And I think that is inevitable. But I do. Part of me was thinking the other day, maybe it's just because it was a flat show, which happens all the time. People get flat shows all the time. But I was thinking, well, I wonder if this has run its course. We've been doing it for 8 months, which is a long time for us. We're very short attention.
Sorry, you have said this before, though, about after the London shows, you always seem a bit anticlimactic.
Well, after one show, I said we were never going to do it again. Then I phoned up Kath the next day and said, I've had a brilliant idea, let's go on tour with it. So,
exactly.
So I don't know, but I just wonder what we're doing it for. With artistic, creative expression and freedom and stuff.
I mean, we'll still do something, but I just don't know whether this is it now.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes, we'll see.
Well, I enjoy them anyway. Can we talk about the Virgin call? Or
yeah, sure. Yeah, go on. The penultimate show on Virgin. Yeah.
Yeah, it all got like you said, it got a bit tense. And when you tweeted back and you said sorry about that or something, I genuinely thought it was a bit, and that's why I started going on about Oscar Wilde and a lot about rubbish. But when I watched back on Periscope, I then realised it wasn't. It was actually genuine tension, and you were getting really mithered about it.
Here's the thing, right? It was the penultimate show. The last show is this Sunday, and I wasn't going to do it, and now I'm going to do it. It was. So I was not in. My ego was a bit bruised, and it was a new guy producing that I had never met before. And, you called up and you talked about leaving Virgin and stuff, which is fine. And he was looking panicked because, it got up a little bit. He told me to wind it up. Now, Don't tell me to wind it up, and unless we're doing a live television show. Don't tell me to wind it up. And it got, I perhaps I spoke out of turn by saying it on air and then saying it on Periscope. That was beneath me, I think, and that was unfair on the young gentleman in question. So I shouldn't have done that. But it was tense. My ego's a little bit bruised because that gig's coming to an end, and it's fine and it's cool and there's no hard feelings. And I'm sure I'll be back doing stuff at Virgin at some point. But in a personality-led business, egos get bruised a little bit, but these things happen.
That's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, as much I don't know, you probably accept it because you've got an ego, but you're an artist, and you need sort of latitude to actually be creative and to put yourself out there.
I need latitude. That's what I need. God,
you do. What you don't need is someone who's 3 months into the job who should be answering the phones and wasn't. Telling you how to do your job.
One of my hates is having to buzz through saying, "Could you get the phones, please?"
Yeah, but some people are not. Some people are not used to having a show where people phone up. That's the point, isn't it?
I know, but here's the thing, Dom. What I need to remember, and I didn't remember for those few minutes, and it was fine afterwards. Okay, is I am probably earning 10 times what that lad is earning, and so for me to speak out in that way on air is inappropriate. There we go. That's
no, you're not being funny yourself. That's immaterial. You are I wouldn't go as far as saying you're the talent.
And you're a bum licker. How's about that? You're licking my bum, and you need freedom. You need me to bend over and pull my cheeks even further apart so you can get your tongue right up there. Is that right, Dom?
No, what I want to know is Cap going full leather tuxedo or not?
Goodness sakes. Good evening. Let's end the show on a man. Every time he calls, it could be his last call because he's very old, and also because if he doesn't turn his bloody radio off, I will kill him, Dennis.
Is that right, Dom? No, what I want to know is Cap going full leather tuxedo or not? Good evening. Let's end the show.
Here we go. He's going to get the message now.
This could be his last call because he's very old, and also because if he doesn't turn his bloody radio off, I will kill him, Dennis.
Good evening. Yes.
Flipping it.
That was a session, but it was me.
Yeah,
that's back in Luton again tomorrow.
What?
Hard lines. I didn't get a ticket.
What are you talking? What's he talking about?
We're back in Luton tomorrow. We're
not back in Luton tomorrow. We're back in Luton in December. I think it's December the 4th or something.
He's listening to the radio instead of listening to the phone.
He's put the phone down.
Dennis.
What was that?
He was talking to the radio.
Unbelievable.
Ah.
Wow, so it's got a very dry mouth. Never mind.
It's warm in here, that's why.
Hey, good day tomorrow. I've got someone coming to look at where I'm living. But then I'm going to spend an hour in the company of the company who'll be putting on When the Moon is in the Seventh. So I might see some Dingles and VJs tomorrow.
I don't think they need to practice that.
I'm stripping off. Tomorrow I'm going to hang out, maybe literally, with the cast of the new production of Hair. I am so excited. What a week it's been, right? So Bucks Fizz today, who were just so charming. Hair tomorrow. Thursday, I think I'm meeting Johnny, I forgot his last name, Rogan, who's written some brilliant books about Ray Davis and the Kinks and the Byrds. And then Friday, here's one for you movie fans, Jeff Fahey. I'm meeting Jeff Fahey again. I met him, you'll know him, of course, it's the Lawnmower Man, and he was Lapidus, or as I used to call him, Lapinis, in Lost. I met him once in Hawaii. Tomorrow, I'm meeting him in the foyer of the Theatre Royal Windsor, where Jeff Fahey is in a play in my hometown. What a week for stars. We've got great guests coming up next week as well. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you to, I'm going to say 65% of the people who called in this evening. Thank you to Bucks Fizz. The Fizz, back tonight at 10. Ta-ta.